On tonight's episode of the Gamecasters, we talk about all the games we've been playing recently. We play a game called Who Am I? And we give you 5 games that have super interesting player boards. Stay tuned. Welcome, everyone. Hello there. Welcome back to another mandatory session of The Gamecasters, the podcast that judges you based upon how much you listen and assigns a letter grade at the end of the semester. I'm your principal, Ryan. We have Natalie here, your sex ed instructor, and Jeff the Mad Board Gamer as the every other teacher in the possible subject of school there could be. We got a great show lined up for you all today. As you can see, well, you're hearing us. You can't see this, but if you're seeing us and not hearing us, well, that'd be bad. If you're seeing us, you're seeing us. We're on video this time in this lockdown coronavirus world. Yep. But we still have a great show lined up for you. We are simulcasting, so you should hear this exact audio on video on audio.
Was that right?
Something. I don't know. It's a work in progress. If it sucks or it's just not fun, send all your hate mail to your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, as they probably deserve it anyway. The show begins now. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about coronavirus, as I kind of wanted this to be a place people can go, to like get away from and forget all about that nonsense. But I did think that we should highlight that it's both the reason that we're recording remotely. You can see Jeff the Mad Board Gamer over there in his house.
We're so far away from each other.
Yeah, I know. And you can see Natalie and I together. I originally proposed that even her and I should quarantine ourselves, but the hazmat suits made it difficult to spoon.
Well, as in like last episode, she can go to her room and you can go to your room.
Well, see, I had plastic dividers like the Bubble Boy and everything, but in the bathroom, I was like, how do I divide this up? So I split it down the middle. So we only had like one cheek per side, and I had the flusher, and she didn't.
Ooh,
so we just took that down.
Stop.
So now we're together like
Poor
this,
Natalie.
and I figure if I have to die, this is going with me.
Hey.
Right? I also thought it'd be funny to share some funny memes about COVID, because there's memes.
Yeah, it might be the best thing about what's going on. The memes
They're
are really,
all
really
over the
funny.
place. There's tons of memes.
There are funny
So
ones.
it's hard to share them. I had a bunch of ones I wanted to share on the video, but then that wouldn't be fun for the people on the audio. So I tried to stick with just ones that I could read. Okay, so here's a couple memes that I found that were pretty funny. Okay, first one. How do I know if my diarrhea is a result of me having coronavirus or just my incredibly poor eating habits since the quarantine? That's a good question.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone's on high alert.
Remember when we used to argue about which way to hang the toilet paper? Those were the days. That was the biggest argument. There's this doormat, and on the doormat it says, like a good neighbor, stay over there.
That's funny.
Yeah. Grandpa, tell us a story about the olden days. Well, back before the kids wouldn't be old. Say, Grandpa, tell us a story about the olden days.
Hey, Grandpa, tell us
No,
a
the
story.
kids
No, you're
old.
supposed to be a kid.
Oh. Hey, Grandpa, tell us a story about
That's
the
better.
olden days.
There you
Well, back before the great toilet paper war of 2020, we had so much toilet paper we used to hang it off houses and the trees of our enemies. But now the toilet paper's gone.
Yeah.
Now it's gone. I get it.
R. Kelly wants to be released from jail because of worries about the coronavirus. And this guy wrote, I bet if it was called COVID-15, he'd be cool with it. Hey!
That's funny.
One says, when you work at a bank and 2 guys come in with masks on, but then you realize it's okay. They're just robbing the place.
Oh my God.
So then there's one. What if we take board games and we take one word from any board game and replace it with toilet paper?
I heard. I saw some of
really?
these. There were some funny ones.
So there were movies, right? But so I was like, why can't we do toilet paper or board games? So how about the castles of toilet paper?
The quest for toilet paper.
Yeah.
Caverna, the toilet paper farmers.
Toilet paper
how
angel.
Race for the toilet paper.
Yep.
Or how about roll for the toilet
It's a real
paper?
thing.
Toilet paper of the West Kingdom. Grand Toilet Paper Hotel. Mansions of toilet paper. Toilet paper versus minions.
Oh, great.
I'd
Great
also like
ones.
you guys to note, you just heard a sip, and you can also see Jeff the Mad Board Gamer has purchased all of us these water tumblers. I guess you don't just have to put water in
But
them.
whatever you want them.
Coffee.
Yeah,
But-
and they have our beautiful Gamecasters logo.
Yeah.
That Emily from Date Night Dice created for us.
Yeah,
and look how great they look on the tumbler.
It was really just like, because I'm sitting at home all day, you get bored, and the internet, you just fall down things, and I buy stuff, and I'm sitting out like I have hours of the day to just buy things, and I thought these were cool. So
I was wondering if it was
I have
an
hours of the day to just buy things. I
Yeah.
like that.
I was wondering if it was an Instagram purchase.
no, it was just like I don't even remember the website, so I can't even give them a shout out. But
Yeah.
they did a good
I just
job.
remember
Custom
Ryan
tumblers.
had a few months where he kept buying things on Instagram ads
Oh yeah,
that
Well-
we didn't need.
yeah,
That sounds like me. I did.
that's true.
So as you can see, Jeff behind him has this beautiful array of board games, his board game collection, which you may have just seen him post on Instagram.
Yeah, I got a challenge to post my shelfie.
What a challenge that is, too.
Yeah. Well,
That's a nice
you
shelfie.
need like some panoramic view of yours.
Yeah, that's the
You need,
problem.
like,
I got
6.
challenged, and I was like, how am I going to do this?
Ours,
So,
like, turns
so
a
right now
corner.
we have Bruce Willis as Die Hard
Yeah.
in the background. But let me show you. Here's my collection. For those of you listening, this is going to be really boring. Natalie, sing them a song.
What? No.
What? No.
It's massive.
Here's- So
If you,
here's
yeah,
this, and then it
people
goes
can't see it. It's a massive
around,
collection.
And then it goes back there, and then up here is Crokinole and a bunch of other stuff. We'll just show you back again. So it's pretty big. We couldn't
Pretty
really. I guess it is a pretty good size.
It's a good size.
So that's our shelfie, and we're in the basement here, which is where we always record. Jeff's usually right there. Natalie's usually over there. I'm in this spot here.
Yep.
But now Jeff's over yonder
Yeah, I'm in Livonia.
in Livonia way
20
on
some
his
minutes
wobbly
away.
table in
He's
his
not
in his
allowed in
No.
our home. We're not allowed in his.
Yeah. Hey, so you guys watching a lot of TV while you're just locked up at home, quarantined?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we
Yeah.
are. We went through the show You. There's 2 seasons of it.
Oh, yes, You.
We won't spoil anything for you, but it's really good.
No, we won't.
We already did, but we had to cut it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
to
was
the
really
outtakes.
good. It caught our attention right away.
Yeah, we
And now
marathoned
it's
it
over.
quickly.
Instantly gripped us.
It's like one of those. It's another one of those shows where you get into it, you watch it for like in a week, and now we're like, oh, I
Yeah.
want another show that's gonna grab me like that, and we haven't found one. yet.
Unlike we tried Westworld, the first episode of season 3, we had no idea what the hell was going on.
Did you watch season 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I loved season 2. We watched season 3. I'm like, who
Well,
are
we've
these
only
people?
seen
These
the
are all
first
new characters.
episode,
What's
and-
going on? Who's
Yeah.
It bugged
Yeah.
us.
Well, you got
So,
to.
I mean, we'll keep going.
I
We
had
haven't
to
watched.
watch,
We haven't watched
like-
episode 2 yet.
I watched like a recap. So I watched a recap before season 3 because it's
Yeah, we
been
need to do
2
that.
years or something. Yeah, watch a
Yeah.
recap. It helped, but I also think it's something that will come together. You know, it's like something
I
that.
think so too.
Yeah, I love the show, so I'm gonna keep going. I've
I
watched.
want to keep going too.
You guys got to watch. Have you watched Tiger King?
We want to. We
Oh, I
almost
keep
started.
hearing
it.
about it.
It
I
is-
have mixed feelings
I heard it's
because
the craziest thing of all time.
It's insane.
right.
It's insanity from beginning to end.
But is it like so insane where it's like just like I've heard that people say it's almost like so terrible they can't even watch it and they want to stop.
I
then
watched
some
it
people
very
are
quickly.
like-
7 episodes or something?
Yeah, it's 7 episodes. Give it a try. Watch 2 of them.
Yeah,
If
I
you
figured
like
we'll
keep
give it a
going.
try and we'll decide.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I see it all over the place, people talking about it.
Oh yeah, the memes for that are really hilarious too. All the pictures are so funny.
That guy is weird looking, man.
They're all weird. It just
Are
gets
they?
everybody gets weirder and weirder as the show goes on. You
And
introduce
it's a
new
real
character.
thing? It's
oh
just
yeah,
like an actual
Yep.
truthful
yep,
thing?
documentary on big cats in Oklahoma and the weirdos that are
Why
around
did I
it.
think it was Florida? It's Oklahoma.
There is a piece that is in Florida too. So
Oh,
there is a
okay.
character
I thought I
in
read
Florida.
something
Yeah.
about Florida.
Yeah, there's a character in Florida, but
Weird. Yeah. So
Weird.
You watched the whole thing?
oh yeah, we watched it very very quickly.
I kind of figured you would have.
Yeah, but it's good. Just try it.
Yeah, we got to watch
Yeah.
it. We're
Yeah.
probably gonna go through it. So, man, you've been quarantined for a while now. I've heard that. Well, okay, so I don't know if it was the governor that the governor of Michigan just recently said she thinks pretty much that schools are closed all year.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
official, but
Right.
it's
So
likely that they're not going to go back to school.
yeah, we are officially out until at least April 13th as of now. And
Yeah.
but she said something in an interview that people grabbed, and she said it's unlikely that schools return this year.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
weird.
that. So today's Sunday that we're talking, but tomorrow on Monday she's talking about schools. So whether or not that means they voted or they did something, she's gonna make a call tomorrow. So we're kind of waiting for that. But
Okay.
it's really uncertain, which is kind of why I feel so weird all the time, like, and just feel like uncomfortable and unnerved about the whole thing, is because like I don't know what my responsibilities are. How are my students? I worry about them all the time because it's not just like summer. This is very, very different.
Right. Yeah, you still have to
Right.
figure out how to educate
So
them.
are you still like educating them or giving them lessons?
So nothing is like required for them to do. They don't have to do the work at all because this right now is not counting as days of school.
Okay.
And the teachers aren't required to be presenting material or putting material online, but we're encouraged to do so. So every week we're putting just something on like a Google Classroom or online for kids if they want to do something. It's not like read about World War II. It's more so, for social studies purposes anyway, is some current event things, and we'll be, hey, how are you feeling during this event? How do you feel like when this governor said this, or that kind of stuff? So
I'm sorry, I cannot believe I spoiled the crap out of
out of you
the
just
first
like
time.
did it. Yeah, well, glad we cut it.
So it was me. Now you know. It was
Yeah.
me. I spoiled the living crap. It was like we were just talking to Jeff and nobody else was around.
Nobody was around. Yep,
Natalie's like, "What are you doing? You can't say that stuff."
that was really
Everyone's
funny.
oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Funny.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
that's crazy. That's
Oh,
crazy.
I didn't realize
dude.
it wasn't required because Ryan's kids are in kindergarten and second grade, and it feels like they're requiring us to do this and like turn in their assignments every day.
yeah, I think some districts are
No, we do
saying
have
like,
to.
yes, you need to turn them in, but like Cameron's not going to be held back for not doing this work.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
so it's like,
and they've said that emphatically.
Yeah,
that,
it's
know,
more
there's no
so-
testing.
Just to keep 'em on
there's no
track.
testing and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That's going to hinder them.
Yeah.
But we do have to. We're required to. We're using this Google Classroom,
right. That's
which
what
I'm
we
guessing
used
a
to.
lot of parents are using.
Yep.
And we have to. Basically, the teachers will upload stuff to that we then download, do the work on the computer, and then we have to mark off that it was done. And if we don't, they come after us. We've gotten emails
Mostly the
from
kindergarten
Lexi's
teacher.
Yeah, they're just like, "Hey, I noticed Lexi's not done shit this week.
Yeah.
What's going on?"
And I think it's
so
more
we get her
important at
caught
the
up.
younger levels, like elementary, like Lexi's learning how to read. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
that's
they're learning
important.
how to read and spell and do math. Like those
know,
are like the basics.
Yeah, right.
wrong
The
with you?
that microphone
doing
is
it.
flying away.
It's just it just doesn't want me.
Yeah, so
like
it's
everyone
been
else in my life.
it's been weird. It's just no one really knows what is the right thing to do. So
Thanks. Yeah, it's a weird
it is very
time.
weird.
It's just a weird
Are
time.
you
out
worried
there.
about like? Are you still gonna get paid? Is that a too
Yeah.
personal of a question?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
if they
How much
cancel
money
the
are you
rest of the
making
school year?
exactly every
Yeah,
paycheck?
what do
No, I
you
just
make
mean like if
every
they cancel the
paycheck?
rest of the school year, like you're good, right? Like,
Yeah,
you're not
they'll
gonna...
they'll pay us for our contract. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I'm not worried about that. Remember we said we weren't
that's
going to
good
talk
news.
about the
Yeah.
virus.
Yes, enough about coronavirus.
All right.
I wanted
Moving
to
on to
ask
board
you,
games.
Move on.
you, Jeffrey.
Yep.
Okay, in my vantage point, you're up there, but I'm.
Okay. Yeah.
You might.
You're
be
over
that way.
here to me.
Yeah, I think you might be that way. I have you
Yeah.
scrunched because
Yeah.
of other stuff on the computer.
Do you know what I hate? I'm gonna tell you something really random. Ever watch like TV shows where they're like Skyping or viewing, and then people on this part are like
Look
turning
into,
their head,
yeah,
where they're like,
right,
"Hey, Ryan," and it's like
Yeah.
no one's over there.
I know that
Right.
makes you mad. We talked about
It
that one time.
bothers
There was an
me.
episode of
It gets me on
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. Yep, they do it all the time. Where they're
yeah,
like,
Raj's parents. Yeah, hey, what are you doing over there? Dad?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
goofy.
Remember one time he's like, if it doesn't make you mad, it will now.
"Yep."
So, man, have you been playing any games since you've been quarantined?
Yes. So we have like Devin and I will make a little schedule every week with not only what we're having for dinner and lunch, but
That's adorable.
Oh.
what just because we want to like we
adorable.
need we need
Keep it
something to like
normal.
look forward to and be normal. And then every night maybe not every night, every other night or so we'll play a game and we'll write down what we're gonna play. So we've played a lot of games lately, and some games we always talk about. We played Quacks, which was all just hilarious, and I think I had like a Ryan play of Quacks, which was just
You did.
infuriating, and I kept like blowing up. Even on like my last time, you're just like, I have 50 chips in here. How do I not?
Right.
You know,
it's
how
like
do
a
I pull every
1%
time?
chance
You know
to
what?
pull the one that busts you and you pull that one every time.
That's my hope that at least you experience it one time.
Yeah.
so you can understand
Yeah.
the anger and fury that can happen as this game can kill.
I know.
As this game does that to you.
Yep. But I did get to play with. So Joe and I, Deepwater Joe, have gone in together to buy a 3D printer.
Oh yeah.
And we did print some boxes.
Those are sweet.
Which
Those
are
look so
awesome.
cool.
So they hold all the bits, even the Geek Up bits. So it has room for those. And it holds the little book that says what the power of each ingredient
That's
is, like
nice.
upright. So it's really cool. I'm looking forward to continuing to print more things.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
what's
that's
up
super
next?
cool.
Well, that leads into next. So we played Terraforming Mars also. Finally.
Finally.
Ooh.
I
Everyone's-
wanted you to play that. Well, because, okay, I was originally, like, when Natalie and I first started up again doing the podcast, the first half episode was going to be, if anybody remembers from listening back, a comparison between Underwater Cities and Terraforming Mars.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah,
it never
we never
happened.
did it.
It never happened. But they're not the same game by any stretch.
Right.
But don't they kind of feel...
Yeah, I think
Don't they
because they're
give you that
so...
same itch scratched?
Yeah. They're both so card-based, and I think that's why people compare it, is like the whole game is these actions through the cards, I think. I think that Underwater Cities is different because you get the action along with the card and you're playing the colors, which I really like. But Terraforming Mars was great. It was right away, it grabbed me, and I was like, I'm going to enjoy this. Like 10 minutes in, I knew I was going to like it. It was awesome. And what was even more awesome is that Devin loved it.
So
And-
That
crazy
is
to me.
Awesome.
Yeah, and what was cool is, I asked her, I'm like, what did you think? And she said, yeah, I really liked it. I would play it again. And she's like, if I'm going to play a board game, I want to play a game like this. And I was like, okay. She's
What?
like,
You're like,
I don't
"That's
want
my
to play.
dream."
Yeah, she's like, I don't want to
I
play
love
some
you.
game where you take these tiles and fill in some place. After we played we played
We
Isle
have
of
to
Cats.
get a Devin
Yeah,
review segment on this show.
I think
Devin
so.
has the driest, most hilarious sense of humor. When just anything that she finds that she doesn't like, she'll say something just that's really concise, like "ew,"
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
and it's
Yeah, because we played Isle of Cats, which she didn't really love because it was a similar thing where polyomino, you're filling in things. Then we played Tasty Monsters, which is again that kind of game, and
Kind
that
of
just didn't hit her,
polyomino.
and she was like, I'd rather play a game like Terraforming Mars any day than fill in things with little squares. So it was So I'm really glad she liked it. So I'm gonna be hopefully printing some stuff for that, maybe like some forest tiles instead of the flat tiles or the water tiles. I gotta look into getting a player board. They do have some 3D ones you can print and like you put the board behind it almost.
wait, didn't you just get them from the geek store?
So I went to get them from the Geek Store, and the Geek Store is closed until the beginning of April.
Oh, you missed it.
Makes
That's a bummer.
So I'll get those. I might get those, or if I can't print them, I'll get them from the Geek Store.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a great game. Yeah, we love that game.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll
play
go
that
into
again.
I'll go into depth of another game here in a little bit. But what have you guys been playing?
So we played a couple games. We've been not able to play as much lately, which is weird
Yeah.
because we're home all the time, but
Well,
we're working the same, right? And the
Yeah.
kids have been here and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it's been hard for us to find time. So finally we played 2 games.
Yeah. I mean, we played Clank again, but
Yeah, we played
already
Clank
talked
some
about that
more.
last
Okay.
week, so
Yeah.
Right. We're not through it yet, but we're getting there.
Good.
we're like
We
halfway.
have like, I think we're one game past halfway.
No,
maybe?
I think we played the 5th game.
Oh, right. So we're exactly halfway.
Yeah.
And that's right, because we did the halfway. How do you feel? Natalie hates it.
No, I
Ooh.
don't.
Natalie hates it.
Yeah.
I don't
said not
hate
to
it. I
play.
like it a lot.
You better not bring that up when
I
we do
love
the
it.
video. Make me look stupid.
Oh
but I
my
hate this game.
God.
No, she likes it. So I've seen this game that I'm going to talk about next, Sorcerer City, all over the place on Instagram. And honestly, at first glance, when people started posting all about it, I thought it looked like an overproduced piece of crap. I called it Toilet Paper City. I didn't call it that.
What?
Ooh.
Honestly, I knew nothing about it, really. I saw the Instagram account, which I think you know, Jeff, We Game Together.
Yeah.
I think they're a Dice
We
Tower
came
account, actually.
together.
Like Rama Lama 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 Dabba Bing Badong. Together for now you got me on it. I'm not gonna stop. Shabba bop doop dop dippity beep dip. Blam blam post about it the most, and I saw started to close a look at the game. Okay. So I took a closer look at the game. As they mentioned that they couldn't stop playing it. Like they kept posting about it, like we're playing Sorcerer City again. They just played it like the night before. Then we're playing Sorcerer City again. And I was kind of like, I love games that you want to play over and over and over again,
Yeah,
back
for
to
sure.
back, so I'm looking for those kinds of games all the time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take a little closer look and investigate it. And by investigate, I mean I went to Amazon and clicked the One Touch Now purchase.
Oh yeah, buy now. Yeah.
yeah. So 2
One-click
days later, it
purchase.
arrived. This is like right before the COVID stuff happened, and Amazon wasn't really delivering stuff as much. I had been dying to get it played because I wanted to know what the hell it was ever since I saw it, So I set aside 3 hours to punch the damn thing out because there's more cardboard in this freaking game than there is underneath like a large city bridge, with the homeless people in their boxes.
Yes.
I get it.
We
Yep.
get it.
I get it. It's not funny, but I get it.
Yeah, we get it.
And so I got it all learned and ready to go, and we gave it a whirl, and dude, we loved it. It was so much fun. It's a real-time tile laying game.
I love those.
It's got
That's
some
great.
like deck building kind of mechanisms in it. It's really cool. Basically, each of us are wizards or something like that. We're building up a part of a city over 5 rounds or years or something like that.
Wait, is it a Sorcerer City?
It's a sorcerer.
Okay.
Yeah, we're sorcerers.
Got it,
Yeah,
got
we're
it,
not
yeah.
wizards. Yeah. And each round you build it, and then you tear it down, and then the next round you build it again. It's all magic, so you're just trying to make it better every time. The way it works is you have a stack. You start with a stack of 12 tiles that are made up of 4 different colors, each color equating to a different resource to generate. You're playing these tiles to the table in front of you, one at a time, kind of like Carcassonne. The colors don't have to match up when you're putting them on there, but you mostly want them to. On a few of the tiles, there are these shields, okay? And these shields belong to one of those 4 colors that I talked about. At the beginning of the round, a 2-minute timer starts, boom, and everyone has to simultaneously build out their city from those stack of tiles that they have. So basically, you take a tile off of the stack, turn it over, and play it. Then you take the next one and do the same thing over and over and over again until the 2-minute timer runs out or you're done building your tiles. Once the timer runs out and everybody's done, you evaluate your city. And the cool thing about this is in most real time, what the heck was that?
I think it was a
Did
bird.
you see that?
Yeah, it was a bird.
Wait, let me look.
All right, so we have this window here, and something just shot by like a meteor.
Like right next to the window.
Rocketed
Jeez.
by. Okay.
Maybe it was a meteor.
Maybe. That's
Under the
that's
deck.
a tiny little meteor. So the cool thing about this game is in most real-time games like a Galaxy Trucker, Nine Tiles Panic, or even Chaosmos, you get a benefit for being the first one to finish.
Right. Yep.
Like in Chaosmos, when you're done, you grab those tiles.
Yes.
And you can score double the points or whatever. Nine Tiles Panic has the same thing.
Yeah, like the 1, 2, 3,
And
4.
Galaxy Trucker has a similar thing as well, where you can, make the timer go faster to hurt other people. Well, in this game, it removes all that, which you might think is maybe a hindrance because, that adds stress to those types of games. But it works in this. So everybody has 2 minutes, and you have those 2 minutes. There's no benefit for me completing my city before you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it works really cool. I like the way that happens. I'll get to what I like about the game in a second. But so basically those shields that were on those tiles, those dictate how you gather resources. There's the resources equate to those 4 colors. For instance, one shield might have you needing to put a bunch of blue sections adjacent to each other in a straight line. And every tile that's connected in that way will earn you 1 blue resource after the stuff's over. Another shield might earn you red resources based on how many other shields are surrounding that tile. Everyone has a track. They move on, that they move those 4 resources up, based on the individual city that they built. And after everyone evaluates their resources, you use them in the next phase to earn points and buy more tiles to add to your stack of tiles, kind of like a deck builder. And then you shuffle those up, and then you go into round 2, and you start again. Another thing that adds kind of a wrench into this is in every subsequent round after the first one, a monster tile gets added to your stack. So there's like a big deck of monster cards, and you shuffle those up and you deal out 4.
There's more.
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch
Oh,
more.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
there's a bunch more. So, for instance, we had like the gelatinous cube, was a monster that we fought. And so each of us, Natalie and I, get a tile at the end of the first round to put into our stack that will come out and hurt us in the next round. And then every subsequent round, a different monster gets added to your stack. And there's ways to handle them and deal with them and stuff like that. At the end of the 5th round, whoever has the most points wins. And it's quick, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have 2 minutes per round. So you're at least playing 10 minutes. And then, you're picking tiles in between rounds. So it's about an hour,
Okay.
I would say.
Yeah.
you know. And then once you've learned how to play the game,
Sure, as
you can
always,
get it.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, things I liked about the game. It's very frenetic. It's very stressful in that really fun way. I mean, all three of us, I think, really like those real-time tiling games. Like, we love Galaxy Trucker. We love Chaosmos, Cosmic Factory. And Natalie and I don't know, have we played Nine Tiles Panic with you, Jeff?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so we all, right, so we know what those kind of games are.
Yeah.
That 2-minute timer, you know, and this one is like a noose, and it just tightens on you, and you know, seemingly faster and faster, even though it's still only 2 minutes every round, because you have more tiles you have to play in each round, right? So there's like a lot of like, oh my god, as you're frantically trying to not only get all your tiles out there before the time runs out, but get them out there in such a way that it earns you points or resources to get you to win. Right, and it's hard enough just to get the damn tiles on the table in the timer.
Right, let alone figure out what order to put them in.
Yeah.
So it's really funny. It's that kind of stress.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the kind of stress where you're just like, ah, and then it's over and you're laughing because you're just like, oh my god, that was
You're
2
like,
minutes of hell.
happened?
Right. And one thing I will say about it, what I liked also is you're never bored. It's one of those games.
That's
the
true.
entire time you're playing, even in between the rounds, because in between the rounds you're kind of like, okay,
Recovering.
all right, now what am I? And then you get to go buy tiles, and the tiles you get to buy are cool. You know, they have cool abilities, and you get to you're excited when you put those in your stack, and then you get to, you know, potentially draw them the next round, and it's just fun doing that. So the game is constantly engaging. It's constantly interesting. And I really like that. I also like the simplicity of the tiles. The iconography is great, and it's super intuitive and really easy to remember. That timer, though, will make you forget everything in a snap, as Natalie, I'm sure, will talk about in a minute. So I like that. I like the monster tiles and how varied they are. There's, like we just talked about, there's a bunch of different ones that come out, so the game will be replayable. I think it's a cool wrench to throw into the mix because you already have this timer, you know, tightening on you, like that noose I talked about, and then to add monsters into the mix, it's just like a whole nother dimension of like, oh my god, like how do I do that? Because they screw you over. And but the cool thing, the thing I love about this is they don't just screw you over. They can screw you over, but you can use other tiles in such a way that you can make them benefit you, because each monster still has a color assigned to it. So if you can somehow negate the benefit of the monster, you can still use its color to your advantage. And so you want to buy other tiles, good tiles, to help you do that. And I love that about this game. That is like so much fun to me. Like I said, I like the fact where you can just be so frantically screaming for stuff, but then when you have like this awesome tile come out, you have a very brief moment of like, oh my gosh, I can just move this guy that just destroyed 2 shields and maybe not score. This tile here lets me move him over there, which not only negates that, so now I can score those tiles, but it also puts that in such a way where now I can score 10 gold. And it's like so satisfying and awesome. And I love that about it. The insert is also cool. It's Game Tray's insert.
Oh, yeah. They do a good job.
So they do a really good job, and it's super nice and keeps all the tiles organized because there are thousands of tiles in this game. That's an exaggeration, but there are so many tiles. So it makes setup a lot better. Natalie, what did you like about the game?
Oh, I thought it was so fun. I liked the time element, like you said, a lot. It was very stressful, but I always found myself really looking forward to it. So it was obviously the excited kind of stressful, the good stressful. It's random and it's not too heavy, you know, so it makes it not that frustrating, you know, when things may or may not go your way. But there's enough meat to it to make you think, for sure. There's so many things I think about next time, or felt like I learned as we played the game, such as, you know, what colors to choose when you're buying tiles, or what you want to focus on, maybe like before you start your building your district. You might think like, I really need to focus on getting blue, or I really need to focus on getting green. You know, it's kind of something you learn as you go. So you also have to think about, and I didn't realize this because I ended up with like 6 more tiles than you in total at the end of the game. But like, maybe you don't want to just keep buying a bunch of tiles because it's harder to get them all out at the end of the day. So
yeah, you had 30 or so tiles.
I had like 33 and you had like 27
I had like
or
27.
something.
Yeah.
I never even got to kill a monster tile. One round, so all of the rounds except the first two, I didn't end up playing all of my tiles. And and it was very stressful. I mean, I swear 2 minutes feels like 2 seconds.
It does.
Yeah.
Like you're
It's
just like
so
you feel like you're
crazy
going
how
so
fast it
fast,
goes.
and then all of a sudden I look at the timer and it's like 20 seconds left.
And
I'm like, what? I didn't even go
she
through
has
half
like
my
10
stack.
tiles to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the very last round, I just like froze or panicked or something. Like I had like maybe half of my stack out. It was like over, and Ryan just looked at me and he's like, "Oh, sweetheart.
What were you doing? Oh,
Yeah,
honey,
oh,
sweetie.
no.
He's like,
Babe.
"Do you need a
Oh,
hug?" And he
babe.
like came over because I was just like, "I don't know what happened."
So here's an example of what the tiles look like. So you can see this shield here. This shield is basically showing one way to score points, and the tiles are all made up of these different triangular. Well, they're not always triangular, but different colors like that. And you can kind of see, and this is I'm kind of noticing this for the first time, just looking at this picture, all the artwork that's embedded in there.
Yeah, I was looking at that. While
Yeah,
we were
that's
playing.
pretty interesting.
It's kind of like goes along with like their, each color has like a symbol that represents it, and that's kind of like
represented throughout the
represented
artwork.
in the artwork.
And the artwork
for
looks
each
a
color.
lot better than I thought. So here's like your character cards. The artwork on the cards is pretty sweet. Here's all the monsters. There's a ton of monsters. A ton is not the right word, but there's a lot of monsters. So anything else about what you did like?
I mean, I don't know if there's really anything I didn't like,
I have some stuff.
but I mean, I liked it a lot. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, I'm one of those people who were like, when you're in a panic situation, my brain turns off. So like a lot of times I'd pull a monster out and I'm like, what does this do again? What does this do again? And I'm like, I'm wasting precious time. I think
That was so funny.
I think that's what happened. There was one round where like there was like 6 tiles I didn't play, and 2 or 3 of my monsters were in that stack. So I just got very lucky that they didn't come out. And in the last round where I only played half my stack, like all the monsters came out and I was like freaking out about it.
Something I like that you said is, so you get 2 minutes and everybody gets the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because in some of these games where I do because I love all these games, but Galaxy Trucker, Natalie, when you played that the first time,
Yeah.
you were never going to finish first. You were never going to have the opportunity to grab that and flip it over, because like you were still learning about the tiles and learning about this stuff.
Right.
But if you're playing with someone for the first time, everybody gets 2 minutes.
Right.
So it's like, sure, you have the advantage of maybe knowing the tiles a little more, but
It's a great
I
point.
like that you're
Yeah.
not just like, oh, I'm screwed now because now I have 30 seconds to finish this and I picked 2 tiles,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
So I
great
think that's
point.
cool.
You mentioned that Tom, you were like watching videos on how to learn it, and Tom Vassell and Rado both were like, "Oh, the 2 minute thing. That shouldn't be a problem
Yeah, you'll
at
be
all."
all
But
right.
we like really struggled.
Oh my
with getting
god!
the
From
tiles
round
out.
2 on, it was like sometimes there was a couple rounds where we just didn't get our tiles out.
Right. Yeah.
It's
well.
like, oh god.
Most of them for
Oh god! So here's things I didn't like.
but it was really fun.
The game is a table. I mean, dude. All right, it's an understatement how much of a table hog this game is. So it
Oh,
plays
really?
up
Wow.
to 6 people.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
We played with just 2 of us, and it took up our entire table. The
Yeah.
entire table. Because if you think about it, for you listening on only audio, you didn't see those pictures I just showed, but you could see those pictures. For those of you that did, you can build enormous cities. You're getting upwards to 30 tiles or more potentially by the end of the game. So 30 tiles times 6 people is like 5,000 tiles, I think. And so if there's 5,000 tiles on the board, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's 5,000 tiles on the board, everyone has to have their own space, and you can build these different kind of shapes. So you need to have a lot of room.
You need to have your own
do
card
this.
table. You say you
Essentially,
bring your card
need to
table.
you need a lot of space.
Wasn't
Yeah.
there a beatdown where we had to like someone return the game because it took up too much of their
Didn't
table?
fit the table. Yeah.
So-
Yes, that was one of the Amazon ones. Yeah,
Sorry.
that was Aunt Donna.
Sorry, Aunt Donna.
Yeah, that was
oh,
Aunt
was
Donna.
that like Twilight Struggle?
Twilight Struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just took up the whole table.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, that's a
sorry.
good point, because when you place a tile, it stays where it stays, and you pick up the next tile and you have to play it off that tile, and so you don't know what direction these tiles are
Right.
going to go. And there was a point where mine just started going up, and I had to go over on top of cards that were like sitting in the middle of the table
Yeah.
because I'm like, sorry, I have to place the.
Or you don't
that's
want
where I
to
have to
she
go.
shift
apologized
your whole
to the
board
card.
as
No,
you're
Sorry.
trying
I don't have
play.
time for that.
Sorry, gotta play
Yeah.
it here. Sorry. So I could see we could probably squeeze in a 4-player game on our game table if we wanted to
Get the
do
leaf
6.
in
We could
there.
put the leaf in, and
Yeah.
maybe we could get 6, but it would still be cramped and ridiculous, I think. So that's a big problem.
Yeah.
If you don't even have like our table's pretty nice sized. We have a pretty decent sized game table.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that, there's no way you're going to get 4 players. to
Yeah,
play
I'm
this
just on
game,
like
or
a dining
even 6
table.
players to play.
Devin and I could probably only play it because we're on a smaller table.
On your table upstairs in your house,
Yeah, probably
you-
only 2.
It would be cramped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it's not just your area you build tiles. You have a big market that you're putting out there. You also have a big area where you're putting out scoring cards and the monsters. So it's a big game. So I mean, it's not a knock on the game itself, but that is a negative if you're looking
Yeah.
to get a game and you just don't have a ton of space.
Well, luckily it played well with 2.
It did. Yeah, it
Cool.
seemed to scale well. The artwork I thought was okay. Looking at those pictures just now made me like it a little more. But while you're just looking at it, to me it doesn't just grab you. The colors are just kind of like plain colors. And I don't know. I was hoping for more different stuff on the tiles.
Yeah.
You know, they were just also
One funny thing
samey,
is there was like
more
green,
texture maybe.
blue, or there was green, red, yellow, and then Ryan kept saying blue, and the whole time he's like calling it blue. I'm like, man, this really looks purple to me. And so I said something. I'm like, doesn't this blue look purple? And he's like, it's funny that you say that. The rule book actually says purple, but I thought it was blue, so I've been calling it blue.
Well, let me show you this.
Well, it's kind of like a bluish purple. Like some
To me,
parts,
it looks blue.
Well,
I
in
don't
that
know.
picture it does, but somebody probably enhanced it.
Okay, somebody has to.
That's
Let me
not
take
what-
all the purple
okay,
out of
you
this
have to
picture
admit-
just to
and enhance.
prove
You have
Ryan's
to admit
point.
that is not the color it looks like in real life.
Uh,
It's like way more muted.
I don't have to admit anything. To me, again, there's blue.
Yeah, but that's not what it looks like in real life.
What are you talking about? That's exactly what it looks like. It's blue.
different.
We'll talk. I'll show you later.
Go grab a tile right now while I'm talking and show it and bring it to the camera and
Okay.
show it.
I
And it's
will.
gonna look. It's gonna. I hope it looks blue.
Yeah, well,
Oh God, I hope it looks blue. Okay. All right. So other things that I didn't love. Natalie talked about it a minute ago. She had a hard time remembering what the monsters did between the turns, and sometimes it's really hard in a snap while you're playing to remember when you have 4 different monsters and they all have different abilities what they do. You only have 2 minutes, so to instantly recall what they do, some of your time can be taken away just by having to go, okay, what does this guy does? Okay, he gives me. I have to bring out 2 tiles and do stuff like that. Okay, there is the tile.
that's hard for me to. I don't know. I can't.
I
tell.
hope that looks like whatever. So yeah, I mean, it did look a little bit less purple
What?
on the internet than it did
Oh.
in the tile that
Yes.
she showed us.
Yes.
I think we should
A
get.
lot less.
I still think it was blue.
We should get the ultimate decision and call Jeremy, who is our colorblind
All right,
friend.
Jeremy, who lives in Canada, our friend, he is
Oh.
color stupid,
And yeah,
as he calls it. Yeah, that'd be
yeah,
definitive.
he'll know.
I
So-
think it's like green or something.
Last thing, the game might have some balance issues. There's some threads on Board Game Geek that talk about some balance issues that this game
Really?
has, and in particular, we saw a little bit of it happen in the game that we played yesterday. The last 2 rounds of the game. Okay, so one of the resources, this blue-purple one in question, when you collect it throughout the game, before you do anything else after the round ends, you decide what you want to transform that blue-purple resource into. You can make it any of the 3 other colors. One of those other colors is money. One of those other colors is just points. So if you just ramp up, I think people are saying balance-wise, if you just ramp up this blue-purple resource the entire game,
you can
and just transform it into points or money, you can just roll it that way. So that didn't happen to us until the last 2 rounds. I happened to get some blue-purple tiles, and I didn't try to do this, but it happened where I maxed out
you maxed.
points both 2 rounds in a row. I got 120 points in the last 2 rounds. You know what I mean? The first 3 rounds of the game, Natalie and I each only had like 4 blue or 5 blue-purple points that
Per
you could
round,
transform into
yeah.
something. But if you go really hard on that, you could max it out. it maxes out at 60. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it's broken or anything like that. We've only played it one time, so we don't know. But I am interested to see if when we play it again, if either Natalie or I goes hard for that strategy. Like, I might just have Natalie just go for blue and see what happens. And she'll be like, well, there's no blue, so I can't. And then she'll say, I'm going to go for purple. And I'll say, well, there's no purple.
Well, first of all, the rule book says purple.
Yeah, the rule book does say purple. She's right about that. I have no defense. So I would be an overall, if you enjoy quick, exciting, real-time games and love tile laying and deck building mechanisms, then you're going to love this game. And those are all things that pretty much all of us love. We talk a lot about, like I said, Galaxy Trucker, Chaos, most 9 Tiles Panic, how much we love those. This game is a worthy addition, I think, in those, and just feels different,
Yeah, we both were so excited about it. We were like, I would play this again.
Yeah,
right now.
like we should play it right now, but we just wanted to play the next game we'll talk about after you go, Jeff. Overall, personally, I think I'd rate it like an 8 out of 10 after that first play.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, because it's not going to become samey right away. Because there are a lot of different scoring cards, kind of like in Isle of Skye. It scores differently, you know what I mean, every game. And there's a bunch of different monsters to play. And we only saw a very small percentage of the actual tiles anyway. So it's going to take a lot for this game. And just the inherent nature of building your city is going to be, even with those same 12 tiles, you can build it differently every time because they're going to come out differently. So it's just not going to get old, I don't see. So... What would you rate it overall, Natalie? Like, what do you think?
I think...
I
agree with you. I think 8 out of 10 with potential to be
You better
higher.
agree with me. If you hear her not agreeing with me, you tell me instantly.
The
And
only
I'll
thing I don't agree with you on is the blue versus
the blue
purple.
and purple. Well, I think you're right probably on that. All right, man. So that was Sorcerer City. I want you to play it, Jeff. I think you would like it. I do think Devin would like it too. I say that all the time, and I'm almost always wrong. But I really think
it's got a lot of cool things to it.
Now we know she doesn't like polyomino.
Yeah, the polyomino.
Yeah, it does have a lot of cool things. There's no polyominoes. You could make polyomino shapes out of these tiles if you really wanted to.
Does she like the time stuff?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on whether or not.
I can see her possibly not liking that because it's stressful.
I could also see her having fun with it.
Yeah.
You never freaking know with Devin.
I know.
Report back.
You never know.
Sometimes I just throw a dart and I miss and I hit, and it all depends, It's crazy.
Yeah. So what do you got, man? What have you been playing?
Well, last night we were, what are these? Wine drinkers. They have a name? Do they have like a...
Winos?
I think we were winos last night. We played...
Were you drinking wine?
No.
Too?
Ooh,
the
the game which his microphone is sitting upon.
We played Viticulture last night.
Nice.
I was lucky enough to get a review copy, which was great.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And so this is a Stonemaier game. So I have to start by saying the component quality is just great. Every game they produce is just through the roof with that kind of stuff. And so this is a Jamie Stegmaier game. This is his... Was this his first one?
Yes.
Is this his baby?
I do believe this was his first design.
And so I know that there's, and I don't know the difference. This is the Essential Edition. So the Essential Edition is...
Okay, I was going to ask that. It's basically got some other... So there was some expansions that came out. And it kind of has like what he says is the best of the expansions.
Exactly.
And
yeah, and I think I read in the rule book that they talked to Uwe Rosenberg to get some of his opinions on what the best part of those games were to put in, or the expansions to put into the Essential Edition. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And so it's a worker placement game, and you're making wine. Players start with a small vineyard with the hopes and dreams of making a luxurious, successful winery. And so the game...
Really selling
Thank you. I thought so. The game takes place in years. So it takes place over 4 rounds or 4 seasons. And in the spring, all you do is you vie for like turn order. And players will, in order of who's the first player, will choose on that track, which you're on the pictures on right now. You'll choose where you want to go in turn order. So if you want to go first, you don't get any benefits. If you want to go third or fourth or second, you get something else. You might get a card, or you might get a point or an extra worker if you decide to go later. So you do that in the spring, and then that sets the turn order for the rest of the year for the other seasons. Summer and winter are worker placement ones. So we have a summer season, and you place your workers on the board. And then spring, you receive a card. And then winter, you place your workers again on a different section of the board. So there's 2 sections. If you're watching the video, you can see there's a yellow section and the blue section. The yellow is the summer, and they have different actions than the blue section, which is the winter. And as you place workers, you can earn money. You can play or draw different cards. You harvest your fields. You turn your grapes into wine. You build structures. You train new workers, and training is just getting more workers. And you're really working to complete these contracts. So there are customers that are trying to buy wine from you. And as your wine ages and gets nicer, the contracts that have more like older wines will get more money, will get more points. And the game continues until it's only 20 points. As soon as you hit 20 points, that triggers the end of the game, and then you play that rest of that season, the rest of that year, and the person with the most points wins. It's a very straightforward worker placement. There's not a whole lot of extra, what's the extra stuff called?
Chrome?
Yeah. It's no chrome. It's like you place your workers, other than the pieces being awesome, and each little building looking very different. So when you build a windmill, it looks like a windmill. It's not just like a little cube you put on the windmill.
The components
are great.
Yeah.
And I would say I really enjoyed I like games that kind of have that slow start where you're kind of like, why? Like, this seems useless. Like, I'm doing one thing, and then you just like, oh, you place one of your vines, and then, oh, now you start ramping that engine up a little bit. And I really like games that do that. So it started out slow, but then in the last, I would say an hour into the game, we had like 3 points. And then in the last half hour, we both got, I got to like 23. Devin got to 18 very quickly. So it all ramps up, which I like those kind of games. I would say it's
kind of like Istanbul.
Yeah, where it's all of a sudden you're like, oh, everybody's got 1, everybody's got 2, and then when you blink, you got 4 and 5, and people are right there. Yep.
Yeah.
So it has that kind of feel to it, which fits into my wheelhouse. I would say it's probably not the best with 2. I don't think it's a great 2-player game, and the reason being is when you vie for turn order, I think that's a really, really important part of the game. And if Devin decides and if she chooses first and just takes the worker at the last spot, I get to go first no matter which one I take above it. Or if she takes the card, I can take anything really below it and go second and get maybe the better benefit. But if there's 4 or 5 people playing, you're really wanting not only a better turn order, but you might want you might want one of those bonuses. And there are a limited number of spaces, so you can't just everybody doesn't get to get money that round, or everybody doesn't get to place their worker on the same spot. It's limited. And having turn order is very, very important. I think it would be more important with 4 or 5 people to make sure that you get the placements that you want. So it was I liked it. I would play it again, but I would probably not play it 2 players just with Devin again. I would really want to play it with more people.
Was this the first time you played it?
Yes, first time I played it.
Oh, okay.
What was Devin's 1-sentence review?
She said, she's like, it was okay. I don't know if I want to play it again.
Huh. Okay. So I can tell you this. I've only played it 2 players. I think I've played it 2 or 3 times. My very first play, Jeff, almost mirrored your thoughts exactly. I was kind of like, okay, yeah, it's all right. I don't think I want to. I don't know if I need to go back to it. And then about 6 months later, before I sold it, I was like, you know what? Let me give it another chance. And I played it again, and I loved it.
Did you play it with 2 again?
Yeah. I played it with 2 again. Yeah, both with Jeremy, I believe. Okay. And I just remember thinking well, okay, maybe love is a little too strong. But I was like, this is really good.
Yeah.
This is actually really good. And then for some reason, it just never hit the table again, and I ended up selling it anyway. But I do remember looking back on it right now, most of the games I sell off, I look back on them I don't even know if I remember. Viticulture, I remember it pretty distinctly. Yeah. And I remember liking it. I do remember thinking
there's a lot of things.
Good. So I'm not going to say, that your opinion will change.
Right.
Surely. But
it's definitely not. Yeah, it's definitely not going anywhere. I want to try it. It's something we could play a game night in an hour and a half. It also doesn't take very long, which I enjoy. But I love.
Are you thinking you want to play it with? The group?
I would totally play with them. I liked the manipulation of the whole player board. I liked, taking those cool little gems and putting them on the grapes and then turning the grapes into wine and then aging them every year. I thought that was very cool. And yeah, it's definitely something I would totally play again. I would have set it up again. I just got to convince Devin to do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
She was also coming off the high of terraforming Mars. No,
true. Compared to that,
yeah, but it's great, and I would I'm keeping it in my collection for sure. It's not going anywhere.
Good.
It's obviously holding my microphone, so what would I do without it?
Right, exactly. You'd have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. So that's Viticulture,
So,
eh?
Viticulture. Yeah.
Awesome. So the next game Natalie and I played is a big, meaty, heavy game. Natalie said she wanted to play a heavy game.
Well, we had nothing to do all day. When is that ever a thing? We might as well like knock off one of those.
And
True.
we've been playing exclusively Clank. And so we were kind of like, let's take a break for a little bit from Clank. We're going to finish it, of course, but I want to play other games too.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Natalie said, let's play a heavier game, I jumped at that opportunity. And the first one I thought of was Barrage. I mean, there have been so many people who have been putting this game on their top game of the year last year.
Yeah. Gets a lot of love.
Yeah. So Barrage is a huge game about countries competing to build dams and turn water into energy in the Alps. That probably does not sound interesting to you.
Yeah, I don't find the theme that
I
fascinating.
actually kind of thought the theme was kind of cool, but it's
like this water, you have to have this conduit thing, and
it's an interesting theme.
was
It's
like,
a heavy
what?
beast of a game. It reminded me a lot of different heavier games. It's a worker placement game at its core. And you're taking actions to build dams, powerhouses, conduits, basically to shunt water from these water basins you're damming through the conduits into these powerhouses to generate energy, right? So there's like a lake of water, your basin. You put a dam so that the water stops at that dam. You're trying to redirect that water into a powerhouse via this conduit to get energy.
remember when you thought powerhouses were called super
I
power
kept calling
plants?
them super power plants.
Power.
And she's like, "Oh, is that a place you go to get superpowers?"
They produce super.
I'll take
Now,
that,
that would
one.
be a more interesting theme.
Yeah.
I want flight. So, yeah, it's pretty funny. The game has a cool. It has a cool dynamic player board, and you guys know I love those dynamic player boards. You know, where you take pieces off and they give you stuff and stuff like that. Attached to each player board is this wheel, and this wheel is a huge part of the game. So basically, when you decide you want to build a dam, for instance, you pay the cost and resources, which are these excavators or concrete mixers, which look just like the aliens in Space Invaders, and the concrete mixers look like Y-Wings from Star Wars.
They do, and
They
they're
look
teeny
exactly like
tiny.
it. They're cool looking, but they're really
Is this your segue into
So
Star
you
Wars
take-
Destiny? Is this what we're doing?
So this game reminded me a lot
Good
of,
question.
to avoid Jeff completely, this game reminded me a lot of this game that I played a lot over the last couple of years with these dice called Star Wars Destiny. No, so okay, you're paying for your like the dam with these cement concrete mixers or excavators. When you pay those resources, in pretty much every other game that exists, when you pay a resource, you pay it back to the general supply, and then there's other actions you can take to get them back, right? In this game, it doesn't work that way because that wheel that you have, you put those resources that you own onto this wheel, and then you build the dam, and then you rotate that wheel. The wheel has like 6 pie slices, and it's kind of like the Palaces of Carrara, if you've played that game, wheel, where there's like these little pie slices, and you got these resources on them, and you're turning them. Once you turn it back toward, enough times to get back to your player board, then you get those resources back. But until you do that, they're tied up on that player board. So they're yours. You're not getting rid of them, but they're also gone for a while. And it's a huge part of the game. Those resources, like I said, are unavailable to you the entire time, and that makes things really tight. So you have to balance how much you're spending, when and how much, and when you're spending to ensure that you can do something meaningful on your turn. Money and resources are so tight, and so getting more of them is really difficult because there are actions you can take with your workers to get more of those excavators and Y-Wings, the Space Invaders and the Y-Wings, but you spend a ton of workers and possibly a ton of money, and you're only getting 1 or maybe 2 new worker or new resources. So the best way to get the resources is to keep that wheel spinning, which is also very difficult to do. It's a difficult and chunky time trying to manage your resources to most effectively direct the water to your basins to maximize use of the energy conversion. The game felt a lot to me like Terra Mystica in that every round there's a different scoring tile. And that's based upon a certain type of structure you built in that turn. That's just like Terra Mystica. There's a tile at the end of the game that scores you points based on having the most of something, which again is kind of like Terra Mystica. The player board is very similar, as that you remove more things and then you get income every round, just like Terra Mystica. You can build conduits onto someone else's powerhouses to get a benefit, and there's a track you need to race up to get more points than your opponent. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I was like, what's happening here? So a lot of that is kind of reminding me of Terra Mystica. The game itself is not like Terra Mystica. But there are a lot of similarities, I think. And it also kind of reminded me of a Vital Lacerda game, where you're really only doing one thing on your turn. And that one, or not one thing on your turn, you're really only building one thing. So there's the wheel. If you're looking at the video right now, you can see these wheels. And they have the 1, 2, 3, there's 6 slices there. Once you decide what you want to build, you just put your resources on that and turn it, right? So anyway, I really liked... or it reminded me, I should say, of all of those kinds of games. Very heavy, very chunky.
Those are good compliments. If they're anything like those games, those are good compliments.
Right, because those are good games. So things I did like, I really loved the player board and the mechanisms of the game in general. It was really fun for me to figure out how many workers I had, what I needed to get done this turn in order to race up the energy track to score the most points. And I liked that decision space, that was there. The resource wheel was super interesting and cool. A cool way to deal with resources. I really liked that. The components were good, as you maybe saw from the pictures that Jeff was showing you. Each player has different components that are all super nice, and they fit perfectly into your little player board. Each player has their own variable power, which I also love that in games, having your own separate power that break the rules in some way. The components were really nice. They were all tiles made from chunky cardstock. They weren't just cards and flimsy, cards. Everything was like really thick and chunky. The artwork was kind of drab, but I still kind of found it somewhat charming, and I liked it overall. It kind of had a nice tone, and it made the game feel a certain way. Art in games can evoke certain feelings, and this artwork certainly did that. The game felt rewarding when you figured out how to get a nice flow of water going into a couple different powerhouses to get the energy you needed to get up the track, because it's really hard to figure that out. There was so many times Natalie and I were just like, this is so hard. How do we do this? And so when you finally kind of click and figure something out to get the water to go right in the certain spot to convert into energy that you need to score that tile that you wanted right before your workers run out, it feels awesome.
Not sure I had that click.
Okay, so that happened to me. Natalie, what did you like about the game? Her list is probably smaller than mine.
Yeah, well, this was definitely a heavy game. After the rules explanation, it didn't seem.
But that's what you wanted, right?
Yeah. It didn't seem too bad. It seemed pretty straightforward, but it was not when you actually started playing the game. Figuring out what to do was so tough. Money and resources were so tight. I mean, I guess for me, money wasn't that tight. I somehow was able to keep a decent amount of money, but I had no resources the whole time. I thought it was a very good game, but I went back and forth the whole time between thinking it was enjoyable and getting frustrated. Sometimes I'm like, I'm having fun, and sometimes I'm like,
yeah, it walks that line.
What am I supposed to do? I don't understand.
It walks that line.
Yes, definitely walks that line. You really have to plan out your moves, because one mistake could cost you because of the tightness of resources and workers. And my brain was really working hard during this game. I think I would play it again, but I don't really see wanting to play it often. And then, like you said, I did like the player board. The spinning thing was cool, as well as the when you had all of the what is it? All your little pieces that you have to lay out, like the conduit and the base, and every time you take one out, you could possibly get a reward, and our rewards were different on each player board, and same with our special power. So right. But they were different from each other.
You're right. That's a good point.
My reward for picking up
again,
playing bases, was different than your reward. So I thought that was cool too. But those are my thoughts.
So there were some things I didn't like. Not a ton, but there's some things. The game to me and maybe Natalie, and we like heavy games here. I mean, we've aligned more with Jeff, I think. Where Jeff, I think you kind of like the mid heavy is kind of like your sweet spot.
I think so.
Like the underwater cities, terraforming Mars, Coimbra kind of weight. That's our sweet spot too. Mm-hmm. But we enjoy occasionally the really heavy game. Mm-hmm. We pretty much every Lacerda game is in my collection, and we love those. But this one seemed maybe just a bit too heavy. Natalie talked about it a second ago when she mentioned she kept teetering back and forth between I'm having fun, I'm frustrated. I'm having fun, I'm frustrated. And that was a lot due to the heaviness of the game. The rules complexities is not that bad. I don't think it's as hard to learn as a Viticulture game, but there's so many times where you're just locked up. You know, you can't noodle out the order in which you need to do stuff. And that's the hard part. Like, I really needed to make sure I took the action to convert water into energy. But Natalie already took it. So now if I want it, I'm going to need to spend 3 workers and get and
pay money.
$3.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But I need money to rotate the wheel 3 spots, or else I won't be able to get the resources back to build the conduit I need so I can generate the powerhouse next turn to make use of that tile that gives me 2 more resources that will help me build the powerhouse to score the round tile. But if I don't do that, I don't get a 6-point bonus and I lose 4 points on the current round scoring tile. But I also need more money to do each of these things, so I have to visit the bank.
It's exhausting.
Every decision feels just as necessary and immediate as every other decision. And it's very hard to figure out when and what to do. And it just it can take a long time to do that. Honestly, there wasn't like a ton of AP, but if we played it with more than 2, I think the time would ramp way up. Because then you're competing with people. Because this is a game where you can get in each other's way. You know, you're building things on a map and you're using these water. And so in a 2-player game, we still even got in each other's way. But if there was 4 of us, it would be insane. So I have to think about replayability when I think about game weight. You know what I mean? The game was good. I really liked the game. It was really good. It was a little bit too heavy, and I think that's going to hurt its replayability. Natalie mentioned a couple times, we're never playing this again.
You're never playing it again. If you want it, Ryan is Sandman X82 on Board Game Geek. His auction will be going up soon in the next couple of weeks.
The way the board is set up is also kind of confusing with how the water works. Natalie, I was struggling a little bit with just kind of
the flow.
She needed to be reminded about how the water worked, and that's everything in the game. That is the entire game, is the way the water flows and works. So if you don't have a good grasp on that because of the board being confusing, that's a problem. So it was a little bit, maybe just a little bit unintuitive. You know what I mean? It wasn't immediately apparent to everybody. Hence, she got a little confused that way. The resources are maybe a bit too tight. Maybe just a bit too tight. It was so hard to get resources in this game when you needed or wanted them. And at times, to Natalie's point, it was almost unfun. It was so hard. It was so hard at times. It was like, this is just frustrating,
But like I said, it was.
But it did keep teetering back and forth.
Yeah, because I remember at one point saying like, it's so hard, but I'm still having fun. And then like 30 minutes later, I'm like, I'm not having fun anymore.
So I feel the way I felt after I played Scythe. I like this game better than I like Scythe, first of all. But I remember after I played Scythe, my first thought was I'd rather play Terra Mystica. And that's how I feel about Barrage. Barrage is different than Terra Mystica, as Scythe was different. Yeah. But they are similar enough to me that they give me the same feeling. And Barrage to me felt like a much heavier version of Terra Mystica, which is already a kind of heavy game to begin with. And so they scratched that same itch to me. So I think if I were to pick a game like that, I'd go for Terra Mystica. And that is not to say I wouldn't play Barrage again, because I would. I thought it was really good. I would probably give it a 7.5 or even an 8, which is funny because that 8 is different than the 8 that I just gave Sorcerer City.
Yeah.
Which tells you what the hell ratings mean. Who knows? But overall, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was crunchy. It was heavy. It was a nice welcome, once in a while to have a nice, heavy, crunchy game. While I think it may have been a bit too heavy for us, I still think it's a good game that gives you a lot of interesting decisions to ponder and has real ability to give you those satisfying moments, which they do happen in this game, and it feels great when you figure it out. So I don't know. What would you rate it if you had to rate it?
Give it a board game beatdown.
I'd say like 7 or 7.5. No, maybe like 7.
7.
Maybe a 7.
Yeah, it's like I can see you realize it's a good game. It's just maybe
it's
definitely not yours. It's not your game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't be soon. Apparently, I like it. I don't know. We might not get rid of it. I like it.
It's rated. I pulled it up.
I said I would play it again. I just don't want to play it all the time.
Yeah, sure.
It's got a 3.97 weight on BGG.
Yeah.
It feels a little heavier than that. I mean, that's heavy.
Yeah.
that is heavy. It feels a little heavier than that to me. Again, the rules wise, I would say it's lighter than that because it's not a hard game to learn. It didn't take like when I taught Lisboa to Natalie, that took like an hour and a half to teach.
Yeah.
When I taught Barrage, I got through Barrage rules in about 25 minutes.
Okay.
Because there's just not much. You're not doing much. You're really only building dams, conduits, powerhouses, and building up on the dams. That's all you're actually doing. It's just figuring out how,
Right.
and when, and what order is where the complexity lies. Because, like I said, every decision you make feels just as immediate as every other decision you need to make, and you can't. So, it's
you always have to take those BGG, especially the complexity ratings, differently because like the people who are drawn to Barrage know that they're going to play a heavy game. You know, people who are rating the complexity of Barrage are also not rating the complexity of Azul. Like those are not like these heavy economic board gamers who love these types of games are going on and saying, well, Barrage is lighter than some of the crazy heavy games that I play, so we'll give it a 4 instead of that.
Plus, Plus, the board game weight is just subjective.
Right.
There's no like actual real definition of what weight is. It's just
it's opinion, like most.
It's subjective.
Most things.
Yeah. So that's Barrage. I think that's Cranio Creations. I think that makes Barrage.
Yeah.
And back to Sorcerer City, I think that is Druid City.
Druid City, yes.
Games.
Druid City had that.
So Jeff, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I do. Druid City had that Grim Forest. They have some cool art in their games, and then the
and
Masquerade,
they have
right?
Tidal Blades coming out, which looks really cool.
Yes, I played a game called Kingdomino Duel. You guys heard of that game?
Blue Orange, eh?
Yeah.
I've heard of Kingdomino.
I'm gonna grab it.
Do it, man. Yeah, I know Kingdomino, which it's funny. I've only played it 2 players, so
yeah, and it is definitely a reimplementation. You can feel Kingdomino in this game for sure. It's not just like they're not just using the title to just sell more games, which or maybe they are. It's Bruno Cathala, who is one of my boys.
Oh, it's your boy.
And obviously only 2 players because it's a duel. Come on, Natalie. And it's a
Why come on,
Natalie? You jerk.
It's a rolling, right? So I need you to picture that you have a little piece of paper in front of you, and on that piece of paper is a map. And what you're doing is you roll dice, and it's a snake draft between the 2 of you. So the first player takes 1, the second player takes 2, and then the first player gets the last one. And you create with the 2 dice, you create a domino. So you put the 2 dice together, and it creates a domino, right?
Okay.
And on each side of the dice, there are 6 shields. Some of the shields have little X's on them. Some of them don't. The sides with the X's those will get you more points at the end of the game if you have little X's on your shields. And the ones that don't have X's actually give you steps towards special abilities and powers that you can use in the game. Okay. And so once you draft them and you take your 2 dice, you then place them somewhere on your map and you draw the shield design on the shield on the map. So they have to be next to each other, and just like dominoes, they have to match previously placed ones. So the first one I place, if I have the shield that is completely colored in, then the next one I place, if I want to place one completely colored in, it has to be next to it. So just normal domino stuff. And you take turns back and forth starting, and you play until you finish your grid, which just like in Kingdomino, you play until you have your 5x5.
Sure.
And you're done, or as far as you can get done. You know, sometimes you corner yourself and you have one spot all the way over in the top left and one in the bottom right, and you just can't put a domino together like that. So you play until your board is full or as much as full as it's going to be, and then you tally the points. If you're checking out the picture or looking at the video, you tally the points by area. So you look at the area that has all the same shield color or all the same shield design. And you go, all right, that's 10 spaces, and you times it by how many X's that you have in the spaces. So if you've played Kingdomino is the land type times the crowns. Right. This is shield times the number of X's.
Got it.
And yeah, then you just add up your points, and person with the most points wins. It plays in like 15 minutes. It's very simple. It's hard to not like a game that takes 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You play anything that's 15 minutes.
Yeah, play anything that's 15 minutes. It's cool. I liked drawing the shields on the paper. I don't know. I thought that was kind of cool. I like the, if you take a dice that doesn't have the X's on it, because the X's score you points. If you take one of those, on the back of one of the sheets, there's this little power thing. So I wrote Jeff on one and Devin on the other one, and it said, as soon as I take one that doesn't have an X, I cross off a little kind of a chart on the back. And the first one to get to the end of that little chart gets a special power. So you could like split your dice up and put them anywhere on your map. You can re-roll. You can flip a dice to any side. You can score something immediately. So there's like different powers if you're not taking the cool point ones.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I would play it.
How do you compare it to other roll and writes you've played? Because you've played 1,000 of them.
I know. Haven't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like roll and writes. I feel the same about a lot of them. It's hard for me to describe how I feel. I feel like I fall in the range of like, there's never a roll and write where I feel like this is my favorite game of all time. I've never had that feeling where I'm like, holy moly, this is the greatest game I've ever played. Like I feel very differently when I play Underwater Cities or Terraforming Mars than I will playing Quicks.
Yeah, for sure.
That being said, like the game was fun. Like I had just as much fun playing Kingdomino Duel than I do playing Quicks or Roll in America or On Tour.
Yeah, that was my basically question. Like compare it to Cartographers or and you know, Second Chance.
Yeah, it being 2 players and playing in 15 minutes, it's unique in that too. Because if you're playing Cartographers, that's a 45-minute game.
Sure.
And that's a little more of a meaty game. This is like silly fun. You could play it, you know, I could play it in my class. I could play it in 15 minutes you know, at an airport or something.
Right.
So I would.
Is the box small?
Yeah, the box is small. It's a little bit. It's bigger than the Quicks box.
Yeah.
Here, let me hold it back so it looks even smaller.
Right.
Hell, it looks huge.
Yeah, look how big this box is. Yeah, I would recommend it. I would play it. It's like $15. Buy anything for $15. $15 plays in 15 minutes.
Like anything, yeah, $15 and 15 minutes. That's like
comes with pencils.
whammy.
Comes with pencils.
trifecta.
Yeah, it's got it all.
Are they already sharpened?
They're
too?
already sharpened. They don't come with a sharpener though. Like Letter Jam.
That's
Letter
bullshit.
Jam comes with a sharpener.
Well, I'm not buying it. Then.
Yeah, shut it down.
True.
Yeah.
So that was blue. That's
Right,
Blue
exactly.
Orange Games. Bruno Cathala. Yeah, if you're looking
boy.
for something to play really quick, if you have somebody who doesn't love gaming, it's really accessible. You could teach it, play with kids.
Does Bruno Cathala, did he design Kingdomino?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Look.
Huh,
I'm almost positive. Yeah.
Awesome.
We also played some. So really quick, we played. I got to give a shout out to Lucky Duck, who did something really cool. The publisher. They know that everyone's locked up and in quarantine, and they released a free scenario for Chronicles of Crime.
Really? What's it called?
It's called The Devil's Kitchen.
That's nice
the devil.
design.
So if you have the app, you go into the app and you hit extra scenarios, and they've unlocked one of the ones that you normally could pay for. It's usually $5
Yeah.
and you can
That's
pay for it.
cool.
Yeah, so I thought that they did a really cool thing by just, you know, because I think people realize that they need to start being nice to people as we're just sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, them being really nice and kind of letting us play a scenario for free. So we did that the other night. That was a blast. And again, it's just a one scenario. So the first few in that game, if you remember, are kind of connected.
Yep.
But this one's just a one-off. Devin and I played in an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half. We did really well. It was a fun scenario. So if you have Chronicles of Crime and you want to play a free scenario, it's available till the 2nd, April 2nd.
Yeah, take advantage of that.
Yeah. So thanks,
Yeah, that's super
Lucky
cool.
Duck.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is that's an awesome
Yeah, there's a lot of
game.
people doing nice stuff like that.
Yeah, I've
These
seen a
days.
lot of like if you go on the App Store, there's a lot of games that are really discounted. I again.
Yeah, people releasing movies early.
Yeah.
Like on Disney Plus, like Frozen 2 and that Onward movie.
Yeah, Onward,
were
I wanna watch that.
released.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of cool things. Tabletop Simulator, I think, is running some deals on some of their games. I subscribe to
Yep.
that Reddit board game deals. Again, if you're looking for something to like, people are so quick to post like, "Hey, Amazon dropped Galaxy Trucker to $28 or this," and they just like people will post and it'll just have like a whole list of deals that are going on, and you can check that out.
Wow.
And I've seen a lot more like app stores and digital games like Steam being released more now and deals because people are sitting at home, which is really cool. So I'm glad publishers and companies are doing that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
super
that's
awesome. So another thing, you remember a couple episodes ago where we did the board games that you put the letter R
Yeah,
into?
it
Yep.
changes the name.
Yeah, it changes the name. So I made a geek list on Board Game Geek with that, and a few people. Well, it was like on the front page in the hotness forever.
Yeah.
And people loved it, and so one guy messaged me in particular. He's like, "Hey, are you looking to do you should keep going and do like every letter of the alphabet. And I was just kind of like, nah.
It's a lot of work.
He's like, if you don't want to, do you mind if I do? And I was like, yeah, sure, take it on. So he just released his next one, and it's now board games that are made hilarious by adding the letter T. And it's just as hilarious.
It's really
if
funny.
you get a few minutes, go on to Board Game Geek. It should be, I think it's still number 1 or number 2 on the Board Game Geek hotness. I mean, there's just some really funny ones. For instance, somebody just made Karuba into Kartuba, and it's a guy, and he's got a big tuba, and he's showing in his hand.
The ones that Photoshop the game covers to go with the names, it makes it so much funnier than just hearing the names.
Yeah, like instead of Catan, they put a T at the end, and they split the word, and it's cat ant, and so it shows a cat with a head of an ant.
Natalie had a good one. Natalie.
Oh yeah, what was it?
Oh my gosh.
So did you, Jeff?
Run, fighter, diet.
Run, fighter, diet. So I doctored it up and put like a bunch of health food on it, and then Jeff had a good one. What was yours, Jeff?
I had Carcass on it.
Carcass on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw, Jeff, but I put it on. I did put it on Board Game Geek. I mean, I'm no whiz with editing software and like that, but somebody put Bora Bora and they just put a T at the end, and it's Bora Bora.
That was one of my favorite. That was really funny.
So Borat's in there, and he's just like, with his thumbs up, like, "Hey, is this nice?"
Very nice.
There's some really funny ones. There's, instead of Goa, it's goat, and it shows a goat. There's a goat on it on the box, and Tom Brady.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
someone
Brady.
posted like, the Tampa Bay expansion's coming out or something.
Yeah. Instead of horrified, it's Thorified with a T in front. So there's a bunch of Thors all over the box. The Twits and Wagers. There's just some really space-based.
It's like a big turkey.
And it shows a turkey, he's being basted.
That's funny.
Near and fart. Stuff like that. Captain Stoner. Oh, here's a good one. Instead of Mystic Veil, they put a T at the end. Now it's Mystic Valet.
Just like geez.
Like
the box has like a guy in like a
uniform.
red vest on
Give her
it.
ticket.
So anyway, go and check that out if you think that's funny. They're gonna be releasing a lot more of those, I think, over the many months, and that's all because of us. So, that's cool stuff. Oh, thank you, Jeff. Wow, Jeff. Is that
Oh wow.
over there?
Good job.
Hey, there he is. Okay, well, do you have any other games to talk about, Jeff? Because that's it for us.
No.
If not, it is now that time of the show where you get to see what happens when everyone stops being polite and everyone starts getting real.
Choo choo. Oh no, sorry.
Do you remember that? You remember where that's from?
Yeah, real world.
Yeah, the real world.
Yeah.
But this is the Instagram inbox.
And now it's time for the Instagram inbox with the Mad Board Gamer.
So, I asked the Instagram world the same question that was our top 5 last week. If you remember, we did top 5 games that didn't have victory points as their winning condition. Remember that?
Right,
Yep.
I do.
Okay. Here's some of the favorites that I got on Instagram, which I got a bunch.
Yes. I'm
People are
excited
awesome.
about this.
Jim Gamer, who is a phenomenal listener, he said 20-second showdown.
I don't know
I
this.
think it only takes 20 seconds. It's so.
What happens at the end? Is there a showdown?
I think there's like a hourglass, but it's like a 20-second glass, and
Got it.
I think it's like a competition back and forth. You have to do something within 20 seconds, or answer a question within it, or say like a list of things. So it's like back and forth. He says it's a great party game, but you don't win with victory points. Miss French Toast.
20-second showdown looks like it just came out this past year. It's a new baby.
Oh,
It's a new game. It looks like anyway.
well, check it out because
Check it out.
It comes in this could be in a if we ever do like a top 5 that games that don't come in like regular looking boxes. This is a weird looking
Yeah,
Yep,
box.
that's a
yeah,
bad-shaped
right.
box,
Because
for
the
sure.
box looks like it's shaped like a timer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
20-second.
Oh, is it
showdown
a
in
big
the
potato?
air.
Is it a big potato game?
No. Oh, it might be. Yeah,
Is it?
it might be.
I just saw big potatoes on the thing. Oh yeah,
I know. I saw
Looks
that.
like
Maybe
big
that's
potato.
part of something
I
else.
saw that too. Let's see. We can tell out who the publisher is in just a moment. All of you listening, this is probably super exciting. In the meantime, Jeff, go ahead and talk about.
Miss French Toast.
French Toast.
Our girl Sam in the UP.
We like her.
Yep, she loves Othello.
Yeah, she does. I've heard her. She's
Yeah.
talked about that before. I think.
So I think what do you win? How do you win by? You get your
It's big potato.
Okay, you get your
Othello, you're just turning.
yeah
You're just turning
to the black
the
or
colors
white.
over.
You want the majority of them, right?
Right.
One of my new favorite tags. So one of my new favorite accounts. Their name is Fantasy and Some Flights.
Yes, fantasy. Right.
Yeah.
The beer. Right.
They have a they have
They're a podcast,
Yeah, they have a
aren't
podcast. So if you are interested in checking out another podcast because you're sitting around at home, check out Fantasy and Some Flights.
But don't listen to them
Yeah,
instead
no,
of
listen
us.
to us
Listen
first,
to them in
and
addition.
then maybe they'll give us a shout out too. So
Maybe.
Spirit Island, they like Spirit Island. Again, that's just either winning or
cooperative stuff.
dying.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Trivia Geek, who we know and love. Arkham,
yeah.
any Arkham game. He specified the LCG. So,
Sure.
but they're all the Arkham games are non-point based, I believe. I don't want to say all
Right.
of them, but I'm pretty sure they're all of them. Bad Board Game Covers, who is doing a bracket, which is so fun. Seven Wonders Duel. Which is
right.
no victory point
Yeah.
Good
game.
game.
Yep. Our friend Joey Zim.
Wait a minute. Is that game no victory points?
I don't know. I thought, didn't you just I don't know.
I don't
Just
remember.
wrote it down.
You can win or lose by the
The track, right?
the
War track or
military
yeah.
track. But I thought other than that it was victory points. I don't remember.
Uh-oh.
It's been a long time since I played it.
What we're calling you out.
I'll take his word for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm taking your word, Bad Board Game Covers, because we love you.
Yep. Joey Zim V 2.0. Rhino Hero and all the Rhino Heroes. She said Rhino Hero Super Battle, but all the Rhino Heroes are the same.
Yep.
Yep.
My Board
Wait till it
Game
falls over.
Time likes one of our favorites, Mansions of Madness.
Hell yeah.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Mr. Mr. Days 1607. I think this one was on Natalie's list last week.
That's Lewis.
Watergate. Was that on yours?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
I
at
think
least
it was.
on your honorable mention.
Or it was, maybe an honorable mention, but still, yes.
Okay. Geek Niche Nails. Harry.
Geek Niche
Yeah.
Nails.
I had to slow down with that one. That one could have been.
Yeah, right.
Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, which I've never
Hogwarts
played,
Battle.
but I know
Is that
the
the
Harry
deck
Potter.
building one?
Yeah.
Cool. I haven't played that either.
Our friend Sergio, remember ZERJO?
Yep, Zerajol.
He likes Santorini.
Yep. Yeah, good game.
That's a great one. It's over there.
Yeah.
Ryan likes that game.
Yeah, I love
I
that
think you
game.
might be able to see it. Can you see it?
Oh, you have it too. Sweet. I don't think I knew that.
Oh, I see it.
I don't have the expansion. I don't play it enough to have the expansion, but I hear great things about
but I
it.
still have it. It's good. Yeah, the Golden
He has the
Fleece.
expansion
The Golden
before he even
Fleece.
plays.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
Yeah.
Emotional Cyborg. Now, Emotional Cyborg wrote down Cockroach Poker,
Crack-a-lack and pack.
but yeah, Crack-a-lackin' Poker.
Yeah.
Haskell Jr. Haskill Jr. likes
Eddie Haskell.
likes Betrayal, which was on my list.
Uh-huh.
Gaming with Santanas, who runs a very cool page, also likes Rajas of the Ganges.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Dr. Nightmare X77 likes Batman the board game.
Ooh.
Apparently, Batman the board game is maybe similar to Cthulhu Death May Die, where you have to
Yeah, I
do
have
certain
not heard
things.
of Batman the board
Oh,
game.
really?
Me either. I think you have to do things in. I'm
Haven't
sure
heard
the
of
theme is nothing like it, but I think in Cthulhu,
Yeah.
don't you have to get certain points by a certain time or do things? It's like a timed game, sort of.
Yeah.
Yep. Mythron, BGG, and Never Bored of Gaming, like Summoner Wars. That was their
Cool.
fave.
Yep. Just kill the other person's summoner.
Yep. And that would also be like Mage War too.
French fry potatoes. Yeah, same kind of stuff. Ever seen Sling Blade?
No.
Sling Blade. Mm-hmm. Give me some of those French
Do
fry
I look
potatoes.
like I've seen Sling Blade?
What does that mean?
I don't even know what that is.
Do I
It's-
look
it's-
like it?
I've seen. What's the one with
Blade
what's
Runner.
his name?
It's Billy Bob Thornton.
You've seen
Billy
Blade.
Bob
You were
Thornton
thinking
is
of
the
Blade
Sling
Runner,
Blade.
aren't you?
Blade Runner?
I don't know.
Is that the one with Wesley Snipes?
That's Blade.
Blade.
Oh, Blade. Yeah,
and
I've
then
seen
Blade Runner is different.
Yep.
Um,
Anyways.
and lastly, Meeple Mentor likes Nemesis, which I have not played Nemesis. So
I want to. That's an Awakened Realms game.
yeah, it looks very cool.
I really want to. I don't know if you can get that anywhere right now.
So those were our. We will have a little bit more from the Instagram later, but that is
Coming up
that is
later.
it for now.
Nice. So that's going to bring us into the game of the episode.
How are we going to do this? I just have to avert my eyes.
Yeah, you're going to have to avert your eyes. Okay, we are taking a break from the association station as my brain furnace doesn't have enough coal to keep going down the clever tracks of game names
Choo-choo.
anymore. It was just getting a bit exhausting. So I had something I really wanted to do this episode, but it will take more time and coordination with my fellow hosts to pull it off. So instead, we have a Who Am I?
Oh,
Remember the Who Am I
Yeah,
game?
I do remember that. Choo
It's been,
choo.
it's been about 6 episodes since we've done it. We're going to do it again. Natalie's going to somehow have to not look at my screen here, which is funny because she's looking at the screen.
So
Look over here. Should I look at you?
so Natalie will
over
win
here?
10-0 because all of the answers are right in front
I'll
of her.
just look at the answer.
Yeah, she is not
No,
here. Actually,
I'm not a cheater.
yeah,
I
just-
will be fair.
Okay,
Okay.
here we go. So if you guys don't remember how Who Am I works, basically what I'm going to do is I have 10 games. Each game I have 5 clues. They go in points from 5 down to 1 each game, okay? So the 5-point clue for each game, which is the first one I'll read, is the most vague. So you can, in theory, get it correct if you guess after I read the first sentence or clue, but it's going to be challenging. You'll probably want to save doing that for later in the game if you fall behind.
We can't use our bell.
Ding.
You can't use your bell. So yes,
So we say
exactly,
ding?
just like Jeff. Well, don't just
Ding.
say ding. Put some theatrics into it.
Can I like punch you in the arm? That's
You
my ding.
can. Ow, 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 Natalie, ow. Okay, so are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yep.
I
Okay,
think so.
I-
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm
Okay,
good.
here we go. Number 1. I'm a game about a monster.
That's a lot of games.
Well, that's why it's
That's why it's a vague
5
one.
points. Yeah. Okay.
Do we only get one guess?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can't look it up on your damn phone either.
I'm not.
Remember that last
I
time?
do.
What the hell was that about?
I do. She's like, oh, it's Trajan.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh, I
It's
know
like,
it.
I know
Yeah.
it. I know it. Oh, do you want me to say it? Can I say it? No, you can't say it. So no, yes, you only get one guess. Yeah. All right. So I'm a game about a monster. 4-point clue. Ready? You can't play me with only 2 players. Okay. Oh, are you gonna ding? Okay.
No.
You need to write a lot when you play me. So we have I'm a game about a monster. You can't play
Ding.
me. Natalie dings.
Cryptid?
Now, Jeff, are you going to accept this? Because she didn't look.
I didn't
But-
look.
No, that was good.
But she's correct. Correct.
Yeah, that was good.
It is cryptid.
That 3 points or 2 points?
That's 3 points. Yep.
All
I have it here, too.
right. Okay, all right.
Oh, you
So, yeah, I can
you
keep
two
track of it.
can
Yep, I can keep track of it.
Good job.
Nice.
Thank you.
The next clue was going to be my main mechanism is deduction.
Ooh, maybe.
And then the last clue was you might guess me watching Tales from the... Would that get it? Tales from the Crypt?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, ready for number 2.
Mhm.
I am a 2-player only game. 2-player only game. My theme is cute, but I'm more difficult than I seem. It's very easy to do very poorly at me.
It's very easy.
You go round in a circle, but the components are anything but.
Hold on.
I feel like you're going to.
Okay, I'll reiterate. I'm a 2-player only game.
Yes.
My theme is cute, but I'm more difficult than I seem. It's very easy to do very poorly at me. You go round in a circle, but the components are anything but.
Ding?
Is that a question?
Was that a question? Are you questioning the ding? Yes, Natalie.
Patchwork?
Natalie,
Oh,
correct.
good one.
Patchwork.
Really?
Yes.
I
The
thought
last
it-
clue was going to be quilting has never been
Oh.
so much.
The only clue I didn't understand was the you kept saying very, like emphasizing very.
Yeah, that was just a red herring to throw you
Oh,
off.
okay. I was like, is it?
But it is very easy to do very badly at that game.
Yep.
You're just like taking stuff, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I get negative
Negative 12.
13 points. All right, number 3. All right, Jeff, Natalie's up
I'm
on
losing.
you 5
Yeah,
by
it's
5.
a
You can
runaway.
do this. All right.
Got it.
I have a gigantic deck of beautiful cards. That's number 5. Number 4. I have one very large component.
Ding.
Jeff.
Everdo.
Oh, you think you're number 1? Oh, that's number 4. Yes, Jeff,
Oh,
you got
phew.
it. Everdell.
Okay.
Boom.
I thought maybe. Okay. Yeah.
Nailed it.
I did not get them.
Yeah, the large component is the tree.
Yeah, the tree.
Yeah.
Cards
yeah.
are beautiful.
No, they are beautiful.
We also had everyone other than Jeff in our Gen Con group owns a copy.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah,
next
pretty
one.
much.
Yep, I would've
Everyone just
probably
buys it.
got that.
Yep. And then I say I might have the best artwork of any game. And then the last clue was I'm all about critters and 15 card maxes.
Yeah, that's,
So that would have got it right. Okay. So good job, Jeff. You just got right back in. It's now 5-4. 5
I'm back.
minus 1 is 4. Okay. All right. Game 4. Ready? I'm set in space.
Space.
Ding.
To win me, you have to be an expert builder. I'm a bit chaotic.
Ding.
You always question.
I was about to ding too.
Are you
so-
questioning?
I'm not sure.
Jeff has a ding too. He says. Natalie, you dinged first, I think.
Chaosmos?
Jeff, what is your ding?
Oh man.
Was
not
that
the
it
same.
too?
Well, it was gonna be, but now it's not.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, if that's it, then we can. Okay. So I'm a bit chaotic. Okay. Chaosmos is wrong.
Oh.
Okay, well,
you
hold on,
didn't
hold
say
on.
that
Sorry. I'm
part.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Do number 5 again. 5 is space.
Chaosmos is wrong. I'm set in space. To win me, you have to be an expert builder. I'm a bit chaotic.
I think I know.
Okay.
I can't say it.
No. Okay. Ready? Next. You're working in real time to complete me. And then the last one. Laugh while your ship is blown to smithereens.
Oh man, Galaxy Trucker.
Jeff.
Yeah.
It was between Chaosmos and Galaxy Truckers.
Why didn't you say Galaxy Trucker immediately after? Oh, because you already guessed.
You said I can't guess
You're
twice.
right. You can't. You cheat. Jeff, you just tied it up, man.
Tie.
Oh,
It's now,
boy.
With a
it's
one
now
with a
0-0.
free 1-pointer.
5, 5, 0, 0. 5 minus
How
0
many are
is
there?
5. There's 10.
What are we on? 5?
We're on the 5th one.
Natalie, you're doing a really good job of not looking at the camera, by the way.
I know.
Thank you.
I
Like
know,
it's got to
gonna
be
creep
really
me out,
difficult, but you're doing
It
a good
is
job.
difficult. And I'm sure Ryan hates it. He
No, it's
doesn't
fine.
like me
No.
staring at him.
I'm looking at the screen and I know why. Okay, are we ready for the 5th one?
Yes.
Yes.
I am a dexterity game. Create life while you stack. I was very expensive.
Ding.
Nice emphatic.
ding.
Yes, Natalie.
Beast of Balance?
Beast of Balance.
Oh, good one.
Get it? I was very expensive.
Yeah, and because I
Create life while you. Yeah, because Jeff got it for like $3.
I know, we got it
I
for
paid like $300.
yeah.
Hey, guess what they had at Costco for
Yeah.
$13.99? That same game you paid $250 for at Gen Con. Okay.
Good one.
All right. The next one was my designers gave a talk and Cameron loves me.
Oh yeah.
That would have helped out. Okay, so here we go. Number 6. The score is essentially 3-0. Natalie's up 8-5.
4, 5 to 8.
8-5.
8 to 5.
Okay, ready? I am a party game with a lot of different versions. I provide opportunity for very clever play. My 2-player version might be my best.
Ding.
Jeff's dinging. Jeff,
Code names.
code names.
Oh.
And Jeff has just tied it
Good.
up again. Yes, the next one was work in teams to solve the puzzle. And the last clue was game 1.
Nice. You look very proud of that.
I was happy. I kind of wanted to get to that one.
Yeah.
Look at the clues.
Okay, here we go. Number 7. I am a cooperative game. Got a guess?
No.
I rely on atmosphere and experience. Jeff looks like he wants to ding it.
I know,
I'll
I
ding.
wanna
I'm gonna
ding.
ding.
Jeff's dinging. He's dinging it.
I'm gonna say Mansions of Madness.
And Jeff goes into the lead.
Oh, that's not what I was going to say.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
The mind.
Oh,
See?
all right.
Yes, well,
That would've been a good one,
That's
too.
why they're not supposed to be super. So
Yeah.
then the next one says, "I'm different each time you play," and then you might go insane playing me, and then the minis suck because the minis really suck.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff's up in front now,
Uh oh.
4-0.
He has 4 more than me?
Yeah, because he just tied it up on the last clue with code names. He tied it up.
It's just
you
one
you were up
question.
8-5, then you were up 8-8, then you were tied 8-8. Now he's up 12-8. Holy
snap.
cow!
How many
This
It's
is what
just
Jeff
one
does.
question.
You know what Jeff does? He calls it making a charge.
Making a charge.
But there's still 3 left,
Okay.
so it's anyone's game, even mine somehow. I could win this. All right, if you guys tie, I win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 8. I'm a silly party game that you can't play just once. All ages have fun playing me, and everyone is equally matched. Some people buy me based only on recommendation.
Ding.
Ding.
Oh, I think she got you.
All right.
Jeff.
Yep.
What do you think?
Strike.
It is
Yeah.
strike. Oh my gosh!
Good one.
I think. Well, we'll go back to the if that's wrong on the audio when I go back to edit. I apologize to you, Jeff.
It's all good.
Jeff is up by 1. Was that your guess though, Jeff?
Yeah.
The second one was there's a certain rule most of us disregard because screw that.
Yeah.
And then roll your way to victory was the last one.
It's a good one.
Okay. All right, number 9. Jeff's up by 1. I'm a dexterity game. You don't flick me, or stack me, or balance me. I have. Did you ding or
No.
Oh, okay. I have fewer types of components than probably any other game. I have fewer types of components than perhaps any other game. If you can stick the best, you win. Here we go.
Oh, God.
Who's going to ding first here? The last one. Richard Launius once played with me.
Ding.
Jeff.
Attraction.
Hey! And Jeff goes up by 2.
Natalie, did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just you dinged. I was about to say ding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because at first you were like Richard Launius, and I'm like, oh great, and then I was like, oh wait, I do know this.
I was really shocked that the second I said Richard Launius, you both were like, ding!
Yeah. Oh dang.
All right, Jeff's
Funny.
up by 2, so this is it. And you can win this.
Yeah.
Ooh, I just gotta get it in the first.
You have to get it in the first 3.
Yeah, you can do it.
And then, but if Jeff gets it in the first 3, you're done.
You're done.
Or if you get it on the second. Okay, here we go. My designer is very popular lately. If you choose too many, you only
Ding.
pick one.
Quacks of Quedlinburg.
It is!
Nice. Wow. What? You looked at the screen. I'm looking at the video. I'm watching the video
Yeah,
later.
that's
When you said my designer's really popular, I was like, ooh, it's Wolfgang Barrage.
Yep.
And then I was like, okay, Quacks. Probably maybe it's Quacks. And then you said the next one. I'm like, it's totally Quacks.
didn't hear the
Get
next
through
one.
the next
Yeah.
one. Here's what I said. I said, if you choose too many, you only pick one.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right?
Basically, if you
If you
blow
bust,
up,
you
you
can only
only
do one or
either
the
get
other.
to score or
Yeah.
buy.
Wow.
I don't know. That was
you can
great.
Check the camera.
No, that was really good.
So then
Natalie
Natalie
for the
wins
win.
ends up winning by 2.
Boom.
Woohoo!
So the next clue was I infuriate just as much as I endear,
Yeah.
which probably would have given it to you.
Yeah.
My name is a bit strange off the tongue, and the last one is I'm not a duck.
Yeah.
Good one. Good job, Natalie.
Thank
Natalie for the win. Great. That was a good game, you guys.
FGW.
That
Yeah.
really
I
built
like
up
that
my
it,
confidence.
I like that it came in
after
at
the
the very last
association
second.
station.
What happened to the last association?
You won?
Jeff
just were
annihilated?
Oh yeah, we did bad. No, Natalie
last
won again,
few.
I think. But we did very poorly.
Yeah, if you count winning by saying
Yeah,
it like in another segment later in the show.
Yeah. And winning 4-2 or something like it.
But the episode before that, I think you
Yeah,
guys
we were
got
really good.
all of them.
Yeah.
And you killed it.
Yeah, that's true.
It is now time to top 5 our way into the top 5. The only difference is this isn't necessarily a top 5, but just a 5. So we have 5
of
games
5.
that we plan on shoving into your 5 hole like Sergei Fiverov.
Fedorov.
Better off
Oh.
for those non-Red Wings.
We will catch you on the flip. Normally, we do a top 5 list for you guys, but we have been talking and we thought it might be interesting to not necessarily hear our favorite games diced up into a million different lists, but just hear 5 games we thought exemplified whatever the list topic was. So not necessarily our favorite games in these topics, but just 5 games we thought exemplified whatever the list topic was. You know, so not necessarily our favorite games in these topics, but just 5. I had it written down 2 more times.
Oh my god! Of course you did.
Here is the Gamecasters top 5 games with interesting player boards. We're gonna go Jeff, Natalie, me this
Ooh.
time. I haven't gone last in a while, so I just
Okay.
do that. All right, Jeff, what you got first?
I have a game.
I'm sorry.
What?
Bitch.
I did, but it wasn't necessarily trying to call him one.
Yeah.
It was in my mouth. And
Yeah.
I was like, I have
He's-
to get bitch out.
It
right
was
now.
in your mouth.
Like Jesse Pinkman. You just needed to say it.
Yeah.
$1,200 bucks.
$1,200 exactly. All right, sorry. So go ahead and do some preambling.
Yeah.
No. Yes, I will.
Oh.
No, I'm gonna do it.
Oh.
Oh,
of course he is.
okay.
He can't not.
I know. Now I feel like I have to do something. It's like my thing.
Yeah, it is your thing.
I know a lot of these are. So I didn't go any that you're like. So I don't think of like Keyflower or like Isle of Skye as like my player board because that's like my city more than like,
like
a
the
player
board.
board.
Yep.
You know, so it's not like
Yep,
the
sure,
board.
I understand.
And we do
I
need
agree.
to. So I was talking to some people on Instagram about player boards. So we need to be clear what a player board is versus like the game board.
The game board, right?
So the game board being that main thing that sits in the middle of the table, and a player board being something that you individually manipulate. Right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to add to
Yeah, basically just that. Exactly. It's just something that's in front of you. A lot of games don't have. Well, no, I think it's good to go on a little bit from that. A lot of games have what you put in front of you, like as a tableau, like in Sorcerer City. You put the tiles in front of you, but that's not a player board.
No.
Right.
You know,
It's an
that's
actual
you're
board.
building the. You know what I mean? It's an actual like board that has all the stuff on it that.
And it's not
only
something that you just
manipulate.
use for a reference. You actually, like Jeff said, manipulating it to play your game.
So I'm going to start with a game called Mechanica.
I heard of that game.
Nice.
And Mechanica has that really awesome assembly line belt thing in front of you. And you put those puzzle pieces in your assembly line. You're making robots. And it is very, very cool to take those puzzle pieces, put them in the spots, and watch those robots go.
That's definitely an interesting
Do you mean
game.
robots?
player
Robots. The robots.
Yep.
So that's an
Very
interesting
awesome.
player board. Yep.
It is very interesting.
for sure.
Very interesting player board. Natalie, what's your number 5?
I'm gonna go with Quacks of Quedlinburg since that's just won me the game.
Oh. Nice.
Remember
But I
one
mean,
time
it's a
Natalie
big-
was like, "Oh, good job."
Yeah.
Oh, you got that?
Jeff like nailed the clue, and I was
Cool.
like, great.
Great.
Good
Wow,
job, Jeff. Oh,
nicely
you're just
done.
getting all of them.
You weren't smiling though at all.
No.
You were just cool.
Good job.
Next. So Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Quacks of Quedlinburg. It
Fantastic.
has a cool player board that's like a cauldron, and it's like a spiral of numbers, and you pick your ingredients out of the bag and place them on this spiral of numbers.
It's a board that you're manipulating. Yes, I agree.
But it's cool. It's
it's
different.
an awesome player
Yeah.
board. That's a great player board.
Good one.
My number 5 is a game that was possibly my most anticipated game from Gen Con this year, and it's because of the cool player board with these like puzzle-like pieces. It's called Mechanica.
Oh, got it. Yes, good one.
And Jeff, already talked about it. It's super cool. It's the big draw of the game. It's funny. The player board itself is really nothing. It's just lines.
Yeah.
But once you start adding the puzzle pieces onto it, it becomes super dynamic and really awesome. So
Yeah.
that's my number 5, which was Jeff's number 5, which is Mechanica.
Mechanica.
Jeff, what is your number 4?
Ooh, I have a game called Trajan. At that
Oh, I
spot.
heard of that one.
Trajan has that Roncalla on your board
Yes.
where you're picking up your pieces and you're dropping them to do the action. And I like that because again, it's not everybody's not manipulating the same board. I can control my actions on my board, well, to the best of my ability. And
Yeah, it's
you've got to
hard.
play that game. But it holds your pieces and your dudes, but
Sure.
the Roncalla.
That's a Stefan Feld condom.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The Roncalla is very cool on your own player board, so I like that a lot, which is why I'm looking forward to playing Crusaders, which has a similar mechanism. So
Yeah, it's a Roncalla as well. Nice. That's a nice one. Natalie, what is your number 4?
For my number 4, I'm going to go with Trajan.
what?
This is great.
It's a really cool
I'm trying-
Roncalla
I really
style
have,
board
like-
that
I had a list of games that I thought would be on your lists that I'm not saying.
really.
Yeah, agreed. We did the same thing. I had like 10 to 15 games, and I'm like, all right, I'll just pick these ones. Although, granted, I did think you would have Mechanica. I was just like, I have to put it on there because
I thought you would have
that was
Trajan.
like
I didn't think you'd have- I didn't have-
Mechanica was like the game I wanted so bad at Gen Con, and I had to pre-order it.
Well,
and
you know
stuff,
how
so-
my memory is. I was like, at first I was struggling. I'm like, I have to try to remember components in games,
Yeah.
like player boards and games that I've played.
Yeah, that can be
Trajan
hard.
was one of the first ones I thought of because of the Roncalla thing.
That's a good one.
So,
Spoiling.
So
yeah,
Natalie,
it's
tell us
very
about
cool.
Trajan. I'm just kidding. That's awesome.
Same as Jeff did.
All right. My number 4 is a game I'm not super high on the game itself, but there's no doubting that this player board in Dadoy.Dadaskadal is really awesome. AKA the boy bought the basketball.
No.
Oh, it's the Taverns of Tiefenthal.
of Tiefenthal.
It is super awesome. It's what drew me to the game, honestly. Quite honestly. I
is
didn't
very
even
cool.
really know what the game was all about at first. When I first got, I'm sure most of us, getting intrigued in the game when you see pictures of it, that player board where it's got actual things you can like remove from the board. It's a super cool concept, and I was hoping I would like the game more because of it. But that's my number 4, Dadoy.Dadaskadal. Jeff, what is your number 3?
I have one I think is not going to be on your lists.
All right.
A game called Coal Baron.
Yes, you're correct.
And
Probably because we haven't played it.
Yeah. So Coal Baron, your player board is like your mine shaft, and you then build it out as you're like collecting more meta resources. So it's kind of cool. You have this like little elevator that slides up and down to carry the different coal pieces up and down. It's a cool game. It's a worker placement game. I think you guys would probably like it. It's Kiesling and
Kiesling and Kramer?
yeah, Kiesling and Kramer make Coal Baron.
I love that team.
Yeah. So it's a good one. Check out Coal Baron.
Sweet. Coal Baron. All right. Natalie, what's your number 3, girl?
My number 3 is Barrage. We just talked about how cool the spinny thing is. That like keeps all your resources from you and
It
makes
is really
it
cool.
tight. And
Like a toy girl.
It's like frustrating, but you gotta respect the coolness, I guess. And same thing, like we talked about earlier, that each wooden piece. I never know what to call these
I'm like,
things.
there's a lot of ums in that sentence.
I know. Each thing that you play on the board reveals a different reward from your other player, and it has the unique special power
That's cool.
and the spinny thing.
Yes,
and
dynamic. It's like a dynamic player.
Yeah.
board. It's very cool.
It's a cool one. Okay, just move on from
She's
me.
right. No, it's okay. It is a very cool player board. That wheel that's part of the player board adds to the awesomeness of it. I
Yeah.
think if that wheel wasn't there, it's still a cool player board, but it doesn't stand
just-
out as much
yeah, it wouldn't stand
without
out.
the wheel. So that's
Definitely.
sweet. Number 3 for me is a game by Stronghold Games, and it's called La Granja or La Granja or something.
Granja.
Very cool player board here. I mean, this again was the draw of the game for me when I was researching it. It's got all these little prongs sticking out of it every which way, and the game has multi-use cards that you're putting and slotting in, and wherever you slot it in on your player board, either the left, the right, top, or bottom, only that portion of the card is activated. And it's really cool. It's a really cool, interesting thing that I feel like was kind of first done by them.
That was one
That's a
on
good
my
choice.
Ryan list of games.
I knew that was
I
gonna
wanted to say, but I knew someone was going to say it because of how
Yeah, exactly.
that could have been number 1. Like on my that's a great, not
Sure.
only a great game,
It's
but the
such a
player
good
board
board.
is amazing. I'm gonna
Very
go
cool.
with sticking in the Stefan Feld world, a game called Aquasphere.
Cool.
Aquasphere
We haven't played that either.
has a very cool, similar like dynamic player board where you're removing.
you have that
things.
game?
I don't. Bill does.
Okay.
Where you're removing your ships and you're removing pieces, and it underneath has more income and more things as you're doing it. So
Oh,
that
I
could
wanna
be
play
right up
that.
your alley. You're also
Aquasphere.
someone might correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when you're actually placing your actions, you're taking them on your board, you're on your player board, and you're moving them around on the main board. So you're
Oh.
so
Okay.
it's a very cool board. They have cool pieces. So it's got like I think it's a TMG game, so of course it's going to be amazing
Yeah.
components.
For sure.
So Aquasphere.
Awesome. That's awesome. Natalie, what about you? What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Sierra West.
Yeah. Kind of in the same vein as
Yeah.
La Granja.
Yeah, exactly. This they have kind of slots at the top, and depending on what slot you put your card in, that tells you what you can play, and you're gonna have to make hard decisions because you forego some other actions on the card if it gets covered up, depending on what slot you put it in. So that's a really interesting player board that stuck in my mind.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Good one.
Sweet. Number 2 for me is a game I talked about a little bit earlier while I was talking about Barrage, and it is Terra Mystica. This game, I think, does the best with that dynamic player board. I had, I'll go over my honorable mentions in a few that has a couple more boards that are dynamic, which is what I love. But I think Terra Mystica does it the best. It's the whole game you're like playing on your player. I mean, there's an actual game board that you're playing, but the fun for me is figuring out which buildings to pull from so I can get these cool new abilities or new powers, or there's like a ton of different stuff to do on your player board in Terra Mystica, and manipulating the power bowls, and it's just there's so much cool
Yeah.
stuff. So
There's a
that could have been number 1 if number 1 wasn't so fun. So that's my number 2. Jeff, what is your number 1?
That one was also on my Ryan list.
That was on my. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was on my list too.
This one is probably one that you are maybe not going to say because you thought I was going to say it.
Yep. You're probably right.
It's Underwater Cities.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. It's funny too. Right before I was like, I mean, that should be on my list.
Right.
He's like, but I think Jeff's gonna.
Now
say
we're
it.
not doing top fives. This is just
Yeah,
5.
5 good games.
You know what I mean?
with-
And since
yeah,
I
5 games
knew,
with
I
boards.
was like pretty certain Jeff you were gonna hit on it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
you
did.
know.
I was worried that he wouldn't because he thought one of us would.
No, I knew. Well, if any of us should, I feel like Jeff likes
Yeah,
the game
yeah.
more than us. So
Yeah, it's great. I just like that you're building your own city. It's not you're building some city with everyone. You're building your own. And now with the expansion and the new board, it just is. It's amazing.
yeah, it takes it from awesome, takes it from good to great.
Yeah, really. So that was my
Yep.
numero uno.
Sweet. Numero uno. Natalie, what about you? What's your number 1?
My number 1 is Wendake.
Yes.
Good one.
That board is so cool.
It's
That's
very cool.
That's on my honorable
It's
mention.
basically the action tiles are always changing by either flipping the tiles you used the prior round or removing the bottom row, pushing all the tiles down, and then replacing the top row. So basically your action grid is constantly changing depending on what you place and what actions you took in the previous round. So I thought that was really cool.
It's awesome. It's awesome. That was one that was on my list too, and I was like, well, you'll have that probably. I didn't think it was gonna be number 1, but that's awesome. My
it's no
number
really
1.
particular order.
True. These are just 5.
It's just a list of 5.
I did kind
Ryan.
of put mine in order of which ones I liked the best. I have to break free from those top 5 shackles. So my number 1 is a game from the Carlson brothers, and it is a chip theory game called Too Many Bones. And this game has these amazing neoprene matte player boards things that I've talked about ad nauseum. And you just have all these different dice that you're manipulating on the player board. You're building out your dice RPG style, tech tree wise on this thing. And it's just so fun. It's so good. It's awesome. That's my number 1
I
player
almost
board.
Put that
Too
on my
many
list.
bones.
Yep.
That's like my number 1 honorable mention, but I knew you were going to put it, but it's awesome.
There was a couple on my list that I thought you guys would say.
Let's hear it.
I
I
thought-
think I know one.
I thought Natalie was going to say Castles of Burgundy because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that was good. I thought Ryan was going to say Belfort.
Yeah, it was. There was a couple games that I was like, I've talked about them enough.
Yeah.
Some games.
Yeah, those were the ones that I thought were going to be on your list.
Yeah,
Although-
I didn't put Castle. I was trying to think of games that were like had player boards that were like kind of different.
Well, there's no player
unusual.
board in Belfort.
There's not. I thought there was this little thing that has all your. Maybe not.
No, Belfort. You're just putting cards in front of you and building like a tableau.
Are you thinking
Oh.
Hansa Teutonica?
Yeah, I
'Cause
thought
he did
that's
also
what I
put
thought.
that.
That's,
Maybe,
that's what
yeah,
I
Hansa
thought. I
Teutonica,
was
okay.
it was Hansa Teutonica. So on my list, a bunch of games that you guys already said. Underwater Cities was on my honorable mentions. Wendake, Kingsburg, Maracaibo, and Hansa Teutonica were some honorable mentions for me.
Okay.
What about you, Jeff?
I had a lot of what you said. Other ones, Black Angel was one. I like the tech board.
Yeah.
I like Crown of Amara. Tapestry's player board I feel like is
Yep. I almost put that.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I had Rajas of the Ganges. I had all the Azules.
Oh, I forgot about Rajas of the Ganges.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was Vindication. I thought kind of had a cool. Just the art
Yep.
behind Vindication is really awesome.
Yep.
The Dungeon Pets / Dungeon Lords world.
Yep. Dungeon Lords has a good one too.
And
Yeah.
the game I played last night, Viticulture, has a cool player.
Oh yeah,
board.
Cool.
Viticulture has a cool player board.
Mm-hmm.
I like in Viticulture the those like clear
Yes.
fishbowl token
Yeah, those are
things
cool.
that they give you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Natalie,
What
you
about
got,
you? Any honorable mentions for you?
Just too many bones.
should we hear from? You want to hear from the Instagram world?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Jeff asked
Surprise.
the Instagram people.
Yeah, just last night, and got a bunch of responses for people who love player boards.
Let's hear what you all had to say again.
So, Trivia Geek loves Scythe. That one's going to be.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
a great player board. That is a great player board.
Yeah.
I probably would have. That should have been on my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Rogue Trout Games likes A Feast for Odin, and
Yeah.
Natalie's number 1, Wendake. So that
Sweet.
came
Cool.
up again. Yep.
Nice.
Fantasy and some
Well, it is
flights
very
likes Agricola,
Awesome.
which is cool. I
That's a
like
good one.
building all that stuff
Yeah.
on your own board. It's
Yep.
cool. Being Friends official like Spirit Island. The second time Spirit Island's come up. I think Spirit Island has your own your powers on it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure does. Yep. You remember it from Gen Con?
Yeah. Emotional Cyborg likes Glory to Rome. Specifically saying the functionality of Glory to Rome mat. So the mat on Glory to Rome just basically tells you everything and where the card
Yes,
should
I got
sit.
it. Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you are tucking cards in there and stuff
Yeah.
like that too. So that's cool.
I think it being the helper of the game is
Yep.
important for Glory
Sure.
to Rome. Bad Board Game Covers also likes this game called Scythe. And Ryan, have you
Cool.
heard
Heard
of a
of
game
that.
called Too Many Bones?
No,
Oh, okay. He likes
Who
that
likes
one.
that?
Yeah.
it was Bad Board Game Covers.
Bad Board Game Covers, yep.
Oh, Bad Board Game Covers. You
Yeah.
and me have to talk, man.
Yep.
Because there's not many of us out there who
Who have the too many boners.
Yeah, too many boners, right.
The McMeeples, formerly Don't Play an 8,
Yes.
likes the Zombicide Black Plague, which I don't know.
Yeah, that is sweet. Well,
Is
that
it
was
a
the
cool
first
board?
zombie side that had like the really nice dashboards that you could
sweet.
like stick the cards up into.
Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
Jim.Gamer likes Scythe. Okay.
It's an awesome player board. It is a really good player board.
Noodles Play, Nella, likes Isle of Cats.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we put the
I thought
cats.
about
That's a
that
cool
one.
one. Yeah.
I thought about that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Azul, and one that I kind of was like, maybe Natalie might say this, is Alchemist.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah, because you have that
I
little
did kind
like,
of think.
thing.
Yeah,
Like,
you
that's
got
a
the
cool
thing.
one.
Right. That is
Yeah.
a cool one. It's very cool.
Winter in April likes a game called Scythe. Have you ever heard that?
Popular one.
Yeah.
No.
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 Same joke. Zim V 2.0 Joey likes Potion Explosion, and she,
Yes.
Potion Explosion just has the little thing where you're
Yep.
kind of having the beakers or the
Yep.
so they just sit there.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Still cool.
Yeah. Never bored of gaming likes Near and Far, and Near and Far is
I haven't played that
the Ryan Lockett. It holds all your stuff. You play your cards on it. It's a keeper,
Cool.
but it's a very obviously the art's beautiful too in that.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
Nuclear Knight 83 Peter likes Sagrada, which I thought was a good answer.
That is a good answer. I thought of that too.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I thought of that too. It's beautiful,
Yep.
right? It's if nothing else, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was the Instagram world getting back to us in a very short period of time.
Sweet.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Sweet. We now come to the last segment then of the show, the segment where we stop this recording to find out if everything worked or not. So if you're hearing this right now, then hooray, it worked. And
if you're not,
you'd like
we'll
to get a hold
see
of
us in
us,
2 weeks.
yeah. If you're not, then I guess we'll get you on Instagram or something. So you can find us on said Instagram at Gamecasters or at MadBoardGamer. Both of those accounts service the show. We also have a Facebook group. You can just search Gamecasters to find that. We have a email that you can use if you so choose, and it's the Gamecasters podcast at gmail.com. We also have an incredibly barren BGG guild that somebody still has not gotten onto. You can head on over there. We are Guild 3678. Occasionally, Jeff, Joe, or I will start a conversation up there.
Yep.
If you like the show, it would be great if you consider giving us a rating on Apple Podcasts, as long as it's not a 2. Somebody just gave us a freaking 2.
Oh, what a jerk.
It's cool. Whatever you think, man.
Mind
Or
your own
woman.
business.
Whatever you want. But
Come on. A 2, get a life.
mind your own business. Yeah, give us a 5
If I
or
don't
nothing.
like
What
the
is
podcast,
that?
I just don't listen to it. I'm
Yeah.
not mean enough to go on and rate you a 2.
But they weren't mean enough to leave a comment as to why, which I think is probably better for my self-esteem because it's
Yeah, we'll
very
see.
fragile at this moment. All music for the show and every episode was produced by Jeremy Pete. If you enjoyed it and want some of your own for your next project, please email us to discuss. So for Natalie, Jeff, the Mad Board Gamer, I am Ryan, and you have been listening to The Gamecasters. Good night, everybody. Although, P.S., let me do one P.S. We are considering... if this goes well on video, we might send out some. You might see more content from us, not in the form necessarily of our normal long episodes like this, but we're thinking we might just get on, for like a half hour here or there, and just kind of talk about some interesting things we might find to talk about, or we might even do a situation where we have one of you on the show at some point. Don't get I don't know. We're just thinking about doing more things.
Brainstorming.
With this. So, backward of the PS, we love that you listen to us. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.